past the creaky metal gates, through the fog-enveloped graveyard, you find yourself on the rickety old porch of a long-forgotten home. Beyond the threshold sits a man obsessed, a tortured soul, cursed to discover all about the Southern California haunt community and beyond. You have now entered the domain of the Creepcast with Rick Creeper.
All right, you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Alrighty, we're back at it. This is episode 13 of the Creepcast podcast, hosted by myself, Rick Creeper 11. I'm here with two good friends. I got a special guest co-host, Justin ScaredieCat Vasquez.
What it do, folks?
And of course, you know, Justin, what have you been up to?
That's exactly what I've been up to.
I had to drop that. And so you know I'm gonna fuck with you. So.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, I've been coming up with some new projects, and I've been just trying to keep active on YouTube. But the one thing is, I've been on Twitch.
That's good.
I finally joined up, and it's fun. I stream almost like every other day or every other night. Excuse me.
Cool. We'll have to check that out. We'll plug that again later on the show.
Dude, yeah.
And then we have the creator and designer of the Gray Phantom Haunted Yard display, which was listed on the SoCal Haunt list for the 2020 Haunt season. My good friend Ernie. He was also a maze manager for Queen Mary's Dark Harbor in 2019, and a maze manager for Pointe Productions in 2018. So he's a cosplayer. What else are you? Home haunter? What else are we gonna call you?
I'm a guy.
He's a guy. How we doing, Ernie?
I'm good. What's up, guys? Yeah,
good.
I'm happy to be back. Just as it's been a while, and you know, especially with everything that's going on, I'm just happy to be a part of something again. You know, and just ready to talk it up.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the Gray Phantom, and so here in the Southern California, the haunt community, we have our theme parks. We got Not Scary Farm. We have Dark Harbor and Universal Studios. Excuse me. And then there's the Haunted Hayride. There's
17
Door, Coffin Creek. So we're talking Southern California. The reason why I say Southern California is because I'm surprised I had listeners in Canada.
Oh, nice.
So I had someone reach out to me through Instagram, and a gentleman named by Tyler Gagne. He's actually a haunter and a scare actor. I'm sorry, Tyler, I don't remember the name of your haunt in Canada. And the dude reached out to me, and I was like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Okay, he's probably like in the Inland Empire or something like that."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I live in Canada. I forget what part." And I'm like, "Really?" And I saw pictures of his haunt in video. They're outside in the snow.
Oh, dang.
And I'm over here complaining that I'm cold, you know, when it's 60 degrees here on the ship in Queen Mary. But yeah, he said he was looking for a podcast that talked about scare actors and haunted attractions. He wasn't aware of some of the stuff we had down here. So just a little shout out to Tyler. I was like, cool. And I chatted with him here and there. We talked about dental distortions and so forth. And he turned on to your channel, your podcast. He's like, yeah, a lot of the people that you talked about, you're associated with, he's all, I follow him now. Like Gloria from Knott's Berry Farm and all that, and other people. But yeah, so obviously the Gray Phantom was in the city of Norwalk. You've been doing a home hunt for how long there?
It's on and off. It really was more of just the it's hard to explain, but my dad started, because my dad is the builder that I learned from, more or less, and I just built upon the knowledge that he passed on to me. So he was doing home hunts in the 90s. Even when I was a baby, he had stuff going on in our yard or / driveway. That's originally where the maze that we had was. So it was from the 90s, and then he stopped. And then when I went into high school, I would say since 2006 or so, we were doing home hunts, just not yard displays, because that came later. But we were doing the mazes on the side of our driveway. Our driveway is about 90 feet long. Okay. So we would have one, like the left-hand side would be the entrance. It would go all the way down to the back, would make a U-turn, and it would come back again on the right-hand side, and you would walk all the way down. So each side would have rooms that you would walk into. Oh, wow. So we went with that, and he loved just doing that, because he loves having, building stuff and putting stuff together as far as Halloween related because he loved he more or less was sort of like me right now, where he loved to collect like stuff, like he loved to collect Halloween stuff, and at the same time it would bring all of us together as far as like family wise and friends, and it still does today. A lot of, even for people that are listening, I'm sure you've had great experiences more or less with Halloween because it brings people together. You get to dress up, you get to have parties. Well, we used to be able to have parties. But so
it started with your dad, and from there you kind of picked up on your own.
Yeah, it started with my dad, and he more or less was sort of just the base of everything. Okay. And from that point, in 2018, I decided, I seen a post for Sinister Pointe, and they had mentioned that they were looking for people that they needed to help, and I didn't know really a lot about them other than, I've seen their name before in posts that they've done, and I had.
So you were a fan prior, and then you just took a chance.
Yeah, more or less. Not a huge fan. Like I wasn't 100% like, I went to their mazes all the time and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I decided, I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to go check it out because I can't just sit around and keep doing the yard haunts. Like I was sort of getting burned out because there came a point where we stopped doing mazes and we started doing the yard displays because they were simpler. They were easy to put out. They didn't need actors. They didn't need we didn't have to worry about giant lines in front of our house for Halloween and all that kind of stuff.
So you ended up at Sinister Pointe Productions the same year I did.
Yeah.
What's funny, because obviously I knew that prior to this podcast, but I always thought you were there for some time.
Yeah.
Until we talked, I'm like, oh, so your first year there with them, and then you just auditioned? Did you audition as a scare actor, or did you?
No, not at all. I've never had it in my bones to be a scare actor. I've tried, and I've tried, and it's just doesn't come natural to me. Maybe one day it might, but when I went, I got to meet Jeff and Paul and Myra and Danny, and they were fantastic, and they were for people that do know them, you already know that they're very outgoing and very talkative, and so they welcomed me in automatic. Like,
so when you went to approach them, you went to help out with builds.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I had went in to show them, this is what I've done in the past. I showed them the mazes. Okay. I've showed them the props that I have made since then. Because I actually made props too. I painted. I love painting. So even at that point, I had painted a good amount. I had my portfolio ready, and I showed them that I had made facades, and I had made like predator biomass that I used to paint, and just stuff like that. Because by that point, like 2018, I had already had almost 10 years of cosplay that I've done.
That's right. You're a cosplayer too.
Yeah.
Were you doing your own costumes? Like, are you a sewer, or do you buy them? You kind of piece them together.
I'm not a sewer. I have a ton of patience, but I'm just not into that.
That's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah, it's an art in its own, and I haven't mastered that yet. Right. But I have what I've done in the past, ever since the first suit I've ever had, which was the Predator suit. I started from something just basic that I could buy at the store, and then I built upon that, and then from that point I started looking into just looking on the internet and seeing what was available, what people were doing, and I stumbled upon different forums of like fans that enjoyed the Predator as much as I did. So at that point I looked into it, and there's people that actually made the suit costumes. Like, they would sculpt them. They would.
There's some people we have a mutual friend, Jeffrey. He sews.
Yeah.
He's really good at distressing, which I need to start doing.
He goes all out.
I love distressing. Yeah, it's super cool.
Just when we worked together at Side Store, we were together at 1870 Haunt Manor last haunt season here in Anaheim, California. His costume was like, damn, dude. I was just like, I just look like my shit store bought.
Not only that, but Twisted Christmas, he did pretty good with the elf costume and everything.
Yeah. Well, not for the photo shoot, but for the event.
In 2019.
Yeah. He did a really. So he store bought like an elf costume, and then he customized it. Like he had peppermints as buttons.
Yeah.
And then he paints his own masks here and there. But So you started off as a cosplayer, then you got into home haunts, and then you ended up in Sinister Pointe in 2018 to help with builds.
Yeah.
How did you go from helping out with builds to actually managing your own maze? And what was the theme of that maze that year?
It was third floor, which was the Boogeyman maze. Not maze. I would just say it's dark ride because that's what it was. So what it was is that they decided, well, let's start the whole story again. So as far as like from point A to point B. So when I went in, I had talked to Danny and I had got everything going and I started helping them, maybe a few days a week whenever I had time after work.
Okay.
I would drive to Laguna Hills and, help them put up walls or paint or whatever.
Right.
So when it came time to it, when they were about to open, they're like, hey, so what's going to happen? What are you going to do? Because, we're not building, so what's left? So I was like, well, I don't know. Like, what can I do? Because, you already know what I can do. And they're like, okay, well, you can be a scare actor. And that's what Myra had set me up for in the beginning, to be a scare actor.
You were
So Myra had set me up as a scare actor, even though, like, she didn't even know me at that point. She just knew I was another name on the list. And that...
So again, I thought you guys were friends prior to...
No, I wasn't friends with anybody prior to 2008, prior to that season.
Okay.
It was more everybody that I know is from Sinister Pointe was people that I had met there. Yeah.
Okay.
And that being said, Myra didn't even know me, and she was in charge of casting at that point. So she told me, hey, look, this is where you're gonna be at. You're gonna be in this maze. I don't remember which maze it was. You're gonna be doing this, and let Tiffany know your sizes for the costume, and she can get that for you. I'm just like, I don't want to do that.
I wonder what maze they would have put you in.
I don't remember. I really don't.
If it was for a Scary Place year, like 2018, I could picture you like doing Evil on 2.
I see him like one of the butler outfits.
Yeah, because you have like a very like retro, like fancy style, man. So
I have to ask her again because it's been a long time.
Let's ask her next time we talk to her. Because I was like, dude, if you would have ended up Evil on 2, we would have probably worked together. It's like,
hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a different situation. But so I told her like right off the bat, like I'm not a scare actor. Like that's not what I do, and I don't find any, I don't find fun in it because I don't know how to do it right. I mean, everybody else that can do it right, they love doing it because they know how to do it. But so she's like, oh, okay. So she didn't really know what to do with me, and she was sort of like trying to figure it out. So by the time we opened, which was
it was like September 20
something, yeah.
20. It was like a Thursday, I remember.
Yeah.
It was like the 21st or 24th.
I was still just helping put stuff together, and everybody.
It's my neighborhood. I live in Santa Ana. What do you expect?
Everybody was doing their own thing, and we were very busy because it was opening night, and everybody was there. And the first floor was where the marketplace was, and the maze. So that was the most crowded.
Right.
So I went downstairs and I was helping them out, just trying to keep an eye on stuff and, looking around and seeing what I can do. I wasn't being a manager. I was just trying to help.
They haven't approached you to run the Boogeyman Express?
No, nothing to that extent. Nothing in the air other than me just trying to help, because that's usually what I do. If I find something to help with, I'll go out of my way to help. I'm not going to let any of my friends down. I'm not going to let any of my coworkers down.
So you take initiative.
I definitely try because, especially when it comes to something like that. It was my first, time doing something legit, It wasn't just a home haunt anymore. So I really wanted to get out there and do something. So I went down to the first floor. I was helping them out. We did about maybe 2 or 3 nights. And then finally, Danny's like, hey, if I'm not mistaken, it was Danny. Off the top of my head, I don't remember 100%. But
prior to them approaching you, who was taking care of the third floor?
It was a mixture because Jeff and Paul were always on top of everything as far as first and second floor.
Yeah.
But then when it came to that point, if I'm not mistaken, they really wanted someone to keep an eye on the third floor because of the fact that there was just so much running, because it's 3 stories.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of running back and forth, and it's a lot of just, oh, okay, something happened here, I have to go, and then something happens in the second floor, I have to go back there. It's a lot of work.
Back and forth.
Yeah. So they were like, okay, well, let's just try to have someone, Danny had seen that I took the initiative to start helping on the first floor. Mm-hmm. And I think he was the one that approached me and said, hey, if you want to stay on the 3rd floor, I think it'd be great up there because, me and Myra have the 1st floor handled, because we're both doing stuff down here. Jeff and Paul are keeping an eye on the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor. And, they've been doing a lot of stuff and they're very busy. So, I mean, it would be great if you wanted to do that since, you don't want to be a scare actor and, there's not a lot going on here, but we really want to, have you here more or less. So that by that point, I had been a supervisor before, I've not I had told them oh yeah, I used to supervise this and I used to be part of this and that and nothing haunt related, but more of just general,
general supervision,
retail stuff. So I said, okay, no, that's great. That's exactly what I would want to do. That's what I was hoping to do in the first place. Because I had it in the back of my mind, I was telling myself, if I could be something if I could, be some type of leader here, I'd be happy with that because I feel like I'd be better off that way, as far as in that mindset. So, but in the back of my mind, it was always there. So luckily enough, they were happy with that decision. I was happy with that decision. Said, okay, fine, let me go ahead and take care of that then. So I went up to the 3rd floor and, prior to that, no one on the 3rd floor even knew that I was even going to be in there or
all the actors are, who's this dude?
They had seen me before and we did the walkthrough together and all that kind of stuff.
I remembered seeing you here and there, and for some reason I thought you were one of the media people, for them, okay, maybe because I could have sworn a couple nights you had your camera.
Yeah, that's something. I love taking camera stuff.
Okay, so
I love taking pictures.
So when I saw Ernie,
videos,
I was like, okay, he's probably the social media dude. I was like, okay.
He handles their Instagram and stuff.
Well, I mean, at the same time, I was probably taking pictures of the work I was doing.
So I'm taking pictures of this shit.
Because I did take a ton of pictures of all the stuff I painted, and so I could have been that, but so they didn't even know I was going to be doing anything up there until after the first few days when everything got settled. And,
wow.
Yeah, so I went up there and I got to know them and they were fantastic. They're amazing actors and everybody there was amazing in their own.
Such a cool experience.
Yeah, it really was. And if I wouldn't have stepped out of my comfort zone to actually do all that, I wouldn't be here today doing all this kind of stuff, which was
true.
Point A to point B to point C and all that. But it was just such a fun, everything fell into place, and everything that I wanted, to make me happy there, came into place. Because all I really wanted to do was just build. And then when the time comes, manage stuff. Because even in my own home haunts, when we used to do the mazes, it wouldn't be scaring. I'd be outside managing the line and trying to make sure people were going and all that kind of stuff. And so it was just...
See, that's my problem because... I have project management experience and foreman, lead and all that. So when I was scare acting, I'll see something wrong and I'm like, I'd break character. I'm like, hey, we got to reinforce this wall. It's like, hey, I noticed this lights are not working, Paul. Or in Michael's haunt, I'm like, yeah, I noticed the fog machine's getting low on juice. And Michael's like, hey, just do your job. I'm like, oh, I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, pretty much. Because I'm like, hey, I'm being the boogeyman. And I'm like, hey, I noticed that over there. But that's who I am. It's like,
yeah,
I try.
That's something probably I would do too if I was in that same position. It's just not, I'd probably get distracted and be a normal person, even in costume, and be like, hey, I'd probably leave my spot and go find something to do.
Even at Dark Harbor, just some people were acting up, and I followed them from my spot all the way through the ship until the very end, where the yellow jackets were the security, and I'll just say, hey, this guy right here is okay, but I probably shouldn't have done that, but my instinct told me, I just follow these guys out because they were harassing people.
Oh yeah, I mean, when it comes to that, being that I have the knowledge of that situation, that's 100% what I would have wanted you to do if I was in that scenario. Because I mean, helping out, like I said, helping out is always the best scenario.
I'm trying to picture Ernie, what we go back to the scare acting thing. What would he do? What
maybe as a monster.
Yeah,
I would picture you either
the bellhop in Evil on 2.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but that's the problem is that in real life, I'm a bellman. So in the past, I have been.
Just put makeup on. He's like,
yeah, I don't. That's a fun fact, but in the past, I've been a bellman, so it's just I'm going to be stereotyped.
I'm not going to say names, but there was people in there in makeup or not, they were just themselves in the maze. I was like, dude, this is who you are when you get here, so it's what's the big deal. It's
yeah,
you're like, this is Ernie in makeup. It's
right, yeah. If anything, it makes their job easier. It's you don't got to get into character if you are that character. So
yeah, I mean, like I said, I've tried it before. I really have, but I'm too I'm too anxious. Like I get anxiety when I'm trying to like prime myself to like, oh, let me look and wait for them, and it's just too much for me. So I'm just like, no, I don't want to try it.
It's not for everybody. It's just,
and you guys are like you're great at doing it, and I've always seen
it's the stupidest fucking thing. It's the stupidest shit, but it's funny as hell. Like I hear people coming, I'm like, oh, get me ready, and I'm trying to laugh. I'm like, I'm covering my face, and then I have to breathe. I'm like, okay, here they come, don't laugh. And I jump, and they're like, oh my god, it's just the stupidest fucking thing. At the same time, like the little building idea, I love that. It's like, I've always been crafty, so it's like,
yeah. I mean, being creative is something that keeps me going. Like it gives me purpose to wake up in the morning, more or less, because there's just so many things you can make, and so many things that haven't been made yet. And like the Grey Phantom, that was something no one's done so far. And but going back, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. So you eventually ended up on the third floor of the Boogeyman Express. And it was a dark ride, and the theme was like an old western town.
No, it was more of just a town that was sort of abandoned and overrun by creatures. So there was a ton of human-sized creatures that looked like rats almost.
Okay,
mutant rats, more or less. I would say it would be a better accurate description, but they were just overrunning the entire area, and
the builds were. I love the builds. That was so cool. The walkthrough, it felt endless when we walked through it.
Yeah, I mean that whole third floor was it's cool because not only was it decked out in all the buildings, but there was a ton of space.
Yeah,
there wasn't just like you were saying. There wasn't just like condensed, and there was a ton of space to walk around, to put stuff. Like if I needed to put a ladder out, or I needed to put some like equipment out, I would have space. So it was really cool, and what it was is that there was carts that had some seats attached to them, and there would be a main cart, so it would be more or less like a engine in the front, not an engine,
kind of like a train.
Yeah, a train is what I meant to say. So a train, and then you had the cart behind it that could haul people around. So people would get in the cart, and then there would be two people in the front train area, which would be the driver and the.
There was like
now I want to say it's I don't know.
There was like the conductor and like the person that was like, was it a bullhorn or microphone?
It was a bullhorn.
Okay.
But it was someone on the bullhorn that would be like their guide. So they were like they were doing a tour more or less.
Almost like kind of like the Jungle Cruise, right?
Yeah.
You got the guy driving the boat and also like on the speaker, like if you look on your left, that type of thing.
Yeah. So they would spew out the entire story, and they would be dressed like hillbillies, and you would start. It would be a long ride. So it would be at least maybe 5-6 minutes at a time, give or take.
No, it was a good amount of track going on in there,
and it was trackless. It wasn't something where someone just presses a button and the train just goes on a track.
No,
and
they were really
driving.
Yeah.
There was a few times I heard they crashed into like partitions.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that it was completely pitch dark in a lot of areas. There would be some like spotlights here and there, but more or less you have to have. We had specific people that were drivers. It wasn't just random people that we would get through the night. Yeah, they were hired, to be a driver, and they learned the track, they learned the, when to honk when they needed to honk and all that kind of stuff, and so they would be able to manage that. But there was nights where they would have to call out for one reason or another. So Danny would have to come drive. I would have to come drive.
I can picture Danny's goofy ass driving that thing.
I'm pretty sure Jeff and Paul even drove at one point, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, when I drove those times, it was a pain. It really was, because I couldn't see half the time, and there was like I said, it's a big area, but there was those catacombs which were very narrow, and I swear I hit it maybe a few times. Like I just hit the side, because the thing is, it's like towing a tractor. It's like towing a giant.
You have to be concerned with the tail, because it's like if you cut it too sharp, you're gonna. Okay, I get it.
And it's just it was way too narrow for that to happen correctly without hitting it. So there was times where I would just hit the side of the the side of the wall just because, you know, it was just too damn narrow. And, you know, it was great though, don't get me wrong, but it's just, for me, it was someone that didn't do the whole, you know, and that's the funny part too, is that I knew everything in that maze. Like I knew where things were and how things worked, and, you know, but here I am still hitting the wall. So
it's like a whole different feeling. Like when you know it, and then when you have to control a mechanism that's already hard to control, and then now it's like, oh man, how you gonna do it? Yeah.
And you know, you're trying to like stay cool when you're driving. You're trying to stay in character, you know, and trying not to.
Did you wear the hat? I know that.
I don't remember if I wore the hat,
or was it just you like in a Scary Place T-shirt? Like it's all just driving this cart. Were you like in a costume?
I think I might have worn the plaid shirt a few times, but
I remember they had like plaid shirts and like a hat, like kind of like a cowboy.
Yeah. It like ripped up plaid shirt and they blue jeans and some like straw hats and all that kind of stuff. But you know, there was times, like I said, where I had to drive and I hated driving, and you know, luckily enough, Danny would take over and he was better. He was a way better driver than I was. But then there was also times where when what's the right word? When it came finally, like when it came down to it, they really needed someone to be the tour guide, and I was up there. So here I was being a tour guide. I did at least maybe 4 or 5 times. I don't remember.
So you're like doing like
yeah, I had to do the whole thing, and you know, I don't remember if I wore the suit or not. It's been a while, but I know I had to do the accents like, howdy y'all, welcome to the tours. My name's Joey Jojo, and this is our tour here. On the left you'll see a font, and it's just all that kind of stuff, and it was so funny because no one knew, like no one expected that actor wise. Right. So when they were driving, like whoever was driving was cracking up the whole time and trying to stay.
I would have been talking shit the whole time.
Yeah, it really was, and you know, it was so funny, and you know, by the end, Jeff was like, "I can't believe he did that." Like his voice, I can't imagine him having that type of attitude. So it was a great experience.
So you had a lot of responsibility as a manager up in the maze then.
Yeah, I mean
everything right there. It sounds like,
and that's the best part about Sinister is that, you know, they take initiative. Like if something needs to be done, they'll do it. It's not just a simple, you know. There's a big contrast between Dark Harbor and Sinister Pointe as far as how things would work. So for us at Sinister, it was very tight-knit group. So, you know, we did whatever we could. You know, even the actors would be putting up stuff, taking stuff apart, putting up.
I was outside in makeup in my costume. They're like, "Hey, Rick, can you help some of the chain link fence?" Because one of the food trucks was coming. So I was out there in my security guard uniform and makeup, moving the chain link fence with, I think with Austin and a couple other actors were like, we moved this stuff, and it's just funny because I was like, okay, and I forgot I had makeup on. And
did anyone like ever thought like you were like legit security?
The only time people thought it, they consider me security is like when because the way it was when they got to my area, it kind of calmed down, and they were going through the rat race of being attacked by everyone.
Yeah.
So if I stood off in the distance, and remember I used to stand sideways, and they would see that, oh, this guy's security. I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing back here? Like they gotta do like a normal voice. You're not supposed to be back here. Come on. And they thought they were like in a backstage area. I'm like, and they realized, oh, this guy's part of the show. Because I'm like, what are you doing back here? And I pretend like I was injured because I'm all beat up or whatever, scratched. And but there was a couple of times like people thought they were, because there was some of the partition walls weren't painted. It was just framed out. But they did that on purpose to make it look like, okay, you're entering a back part of like this hotel where doesn't even look nice for guests because it's for employees. So a couple of people were like, oh, we're not supposed to go that way, and they started going to like the rooms, like the hotel rooms that led into like the hallway, but like they blocked off the doors with like furniture or like, you know, luggage. I'm like, no, you're supposed to come this way, and then I'm going down like the hallway. I'm like, they just totally passed my area.
That was such a unique maze because it was so open but also controlled.
Didn't it seem like it went forever?
It seemed like it was like forever. Like I felt like I was in a legit hotel.
Yeah.
And you get lost because you get off on the wrong elevator, and it was like, oh man.
I like I said before, I didn't walk through the whole thing because it was too creepy.
Yeah, no,
I went straight to my area every time. I was like, nope.
Yeah. When everything was going on, I mean, even for me on the third floor, it was just, I mean, regardless of what it was, third, first, second, it was always like once everything was going, it was always like, I'm just going to keep walking and not, you know, ignore everything as much as I can as far as stuff that doesn't need to be handled because it really was like everything's so dark you can't see and all you hear is either girls screaming or on the third floor, that church that had like the nuns that were like chanting this giant thing that was extremely loud, and like the whole time you could hear it from the entire maze, and it was just in your ear all the time. And then
for us, it was the big band music on a loop with the white noise, but then out on the main floor. And I've said this before, I don't know why Jeff and Paul decided they had different songs throughout the night. The first couple of nights, it was cool. It was like rock bands, metal, Halloween music.
Yeah, I remember. That was cool.
They switched it up to like Rob Zombie, and it was like, to this day, Living Dead Girl and Dragula, I cannot fucking listen to ever again. Like the first couple of nights, we're like, yeah, we're getting pumped up. And by like week 3, I'm like, I fucking hate this maze. I'm fuck this music. And I was just like, oh man, I just couldn't take it no more. I was just like, so whenever Living Dead Girl from Rob Zombie or Dragula comes on, I'm like, nope. I'm just like, it just, you get burnt out. It's
to be fair, those songs are like already overplayed to begin with. Like just in general, like I always hear them on the radio. Any like little goth girl that says like, oh yeah, I like Rob Zombie. All right, let me guess. Living Dead Girl. And it's like, okay.
The thing was, the PAs, like the PA system was like right by me, and it was just like full on. Like we went from like dancing to fucking around in between guests. We got caught a couple of times until I was like, fuck this fucking song. I was like, and I'm smelling weed. I'm like, someone's smoking weed.
What? I was
That's
like, random.
No, I'm a fucking guest smoking weed. No, some of the scare actors, they're like, they admitted to me, they're like, yeah, we're smoking weed. Yeah, it must be nice. So I'm all taking it serious. I'm like, this is a real job, It's like fucking the amount of people I realized that were drinking and smoking in there later on. I was like, well, fuck me. I was like, okay,
might as well. When in Rome. No, I'm just kidding.
But
that's how they ease up the tension.
There we go.
Jesus. So like Ernie was like running back and forth, like feeding people churros and like bringing cases of water.
You told me about that the last time.
Yeah. Just like he did a lot as the manager there. So now we're going to jump forward to Dark Harbor. So you worked at Sinister Pointe 2018 and 2019. You took a chance and you applied as a maze manager for Dark Harbor, correct?
Yeah, I did. And it was, I applied like this, maybe the first or second day that it got posted, which was in like, I want to say beginning of June, if I remember correctly. Or maybe sooner, I don't remember. But as that being said, I had my portfolio already, and it was mostly just props and walls and Sinister Pointe walls and all that kind of stuff. But I did have under my belt the Sinister experience, which was, being up there. And so I got interviewed. And again, it was on the ship, so that already pumped me up because it was so cool, But
it was a different energy in the ship.
It really was.
It was totally cool.
And I'd never been on the ship before that. Like,
really?
I mean, actually, I have. I've been there for Dark Harbor before, but as far as like the daytime stuff, I'd never been on the ship.
Okay.
So I knew nothing about it other than it was a ship. And if I would have known sooner, I would have visited a lot more. But that's neither here nor now because it is what it is. But that being said, I went in for the interview. It was inside the ship, and I was nervous, but at the same time, in my gut, I knew that I was doing something I really wanted to do. Like I really was ready and passionate enough to actually throw myself out there and say, hey, if you want me, I'm available and I want to do this. I really want to bring something to you guys. And so when I did the interview, when I left the interview, like I did the interview, I was cool. And, I tried my best to answer questions and talk about what I've done and how I did things. And they would ask me questions like, okay, so what would you do in this scenario? What would you do in that scenario? How would you handle this? And I would tell them, oh, well, if there was I don't remember the exact questions, but I know it was like, if there's someone that's doing something in the maze, how would you approach them and what would you do to them as far as like getting them out of the maze and stuff like that?
So it's more like they painted scenarios to see how you would react or how you would. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. And so it's so funny because sometimes fate just throws something at you that you really wanted and it sort of helps you with it because all the questions they were asking, I don't even feel like I was in control of the answers. I felt like the answers were just coming out of my mouth. And even when I feel
like you're answering instinctively.
Yeah. Okay. But it's like a weird scenario because I was saying everything like answer wise, in my mind, at the same time, I was like, oh, damn, that's a good answer. Like, I didn't even feel...
I just made that shit up right now.
Like, I didn't even feel like I was actually in control of the answers. Like, it just was naturally coming out. And by the end of the interview, when I was leaving, in my mind, I was like, damn, that was a good interview. Like, I really feel like I'm going to get it because I was just... I'm not being... I'm not trying to be cocky or whatever, but I just felt like a good... you
got a good impression from
I did. I got a great impression, and I thought that I did a great job with that interview comparing, because I've done tons of interviews before. Even at Knott's Berry Farm, because I used to work at Knott's Berry Farm, I used to interview people.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that helped me, but I'm saying that I've seen how people react and what they talk about and how they do control their emotions and how they conduct themselves.
I can see Ernie working the log ride, like wearing, how they dress in the log ride.
Exactly.
The dude that puts his foot on the log, oh, hey, get in. It's like,
How many?
how many for? I could put the big dude in the back. It's like,
Big dude.
Oh, that's the sad part. Is while I was at Knott's, I didn't get to do any of the rides. I was just doing like anything that was not right. It's like anything that's anything away from that.
If I ever worked at a theme park, like if I've worked at Knott's, it'd be like the log ride or the mine ride. Or put me on Tom Sawyer Island, Disneyland, or put me up like in Pirates.
I wanted to have fun. I wanted to do it, but I just never had the chance because I started off doing something different, which was the front gate, which was like the ticket holder and selling tickets. And, I did that for like a year and I sort of got over it. So I asked them if I could move somewhere different. And I just happened, again, I took initiative and I talked to some people that were doing the tours of the, of Knott's. So the people that so something I don't know if I've told you before, or I've told Justin before, but when I was at Knott's, I did a bunch of different jobs, and that was because I really wanted to branch out and try different things. And so the first year I started at the front gate taking tickets and selling tickets, and we'd jump back and forth, so I would be doing that at Knott's. And that was another cool thing, is that we would be put on to work Scary Farm too. So I'm
surprised you never try to work.
Well, I didn't really find the resources to actually, be included into that, because at that point, this was like 2014 or 15.
Okay.
At that point, I didn't have a lot to show. I didn't have a portfolio really. I didn't have.
Or even like just like working a maze, like a blackout or just something, or like just working.
Well,
like
the thing about
control.
that is that I was full time. And if I was going to be a blackout, I would have to literally transfer to be a seasonal that's going to be let go by the end of the season. So that was the downside of being part of...
sense.
Yeah. So that was the downside of trying to go over to Scary Farm, is a lot of that is just seasonal people. It's not something you can... Like, there's a chance that you could stay, but that chance is only so much, depending on what you were like trying to transfer back into.
Okay.
So... it didn't really work well, and I really didn't want to get into something like that if that was the case. So when it came down to it and Scary Farm did happen, I was just happy being at the front, seeing the monster scare people and being in that atmosphere.
Well, you're right by pretty much Ghost Town, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I'm literally right there.
Seeing the scare actors fuck with people.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
I would be there in the midst of that, And then when we would go to break, we would have to walk through Ghost Town because our break room was right there. So we would be literally. That was the funnest thing ever. It's just literally being at Scary Farm, but also working there.
Okay.
So you get the best of both worlds.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah. So that's just part of it. So I did that. And that was super cool, and I enjoyed it. But again, I couldn't find the right, situation to actually get into something that I wanted to do there.
Well, you ended up at Dark Harbors.
Yeah, but that's way down the road. So
did you have if you were, obviously you got the position, but when you were thinking about, okay, if they do offer me the position, did you have a certain maze in mind, or you're just like, I'll take any of them? Did you have a heart set on a certain one? I knew I wanted to work. And I didn't get it, but I did my feast, which was pretty cool. So, like, did you have a certain maze that you had intentions? Like, if they offered me a choice, I'd pick this one instead.
Not necessarily. I I didn't really think about what I wanted. I know, because again, it's still very new to me. Like this is only that was only my second year at that point.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really trying to be picky or trying to be, I'm not saying you're being picky. I'm not saying anybody is, but I didn't have anything in mind. I just decided, I wanted to keep going and try something different, but at the same time, for sure, be a manager that was in, that maze, one of the mazes at least.
Right.
So I had, when I had interviewed, I had told him, hopefully you don't put me in a maze that has that height, because I still remember that one maze that has the bridge.
That's what you got.
That's what I got.
You ended up in
B340. That's exactly what I got. I got the maze that has the giant, bridge over an empty, hull of the ship.
Now,
so
remind the listeners at home the theme behind B340.
So B340 is based off of a story which apparently is true, but not true. It's still up in the air.
Wow.
But there was a man that went crazy and killed a few people on the ship. They locked him up inside of the ship in one of the rooms, and when they came back with the police to take him away, apparently he had killed himself and dismembered himself around the entire room.
His name wasn't as Samuel the Savage?
Yes, okay. Samuel Savage.
Okay.
And so that's the lore of that, and they built a maze around that. So the maze itself takes you through sort of the detective's time. Like the first room has the detective. You see him, but he actually killed himself because he went crazy trying to figure out why Samuel did what he did. Uh-huh. And then you would walk through that, and then you would hear him sort of talking about his experiences through a little audio tape that he took himself, saying, "Oh, I'm trying to figure out why he did this, and I'm trying to get in the killer's mind." And so it would play through the first half of the maze, and then all of a sudden it changes, and now you're being attacked by, not literally attacked, but you're being not possessed, but you're being scared by ghosts, sort of like ghouls, right, that have these white masks that sort of look like the Scream mask. So it's cool too because they built stuff in the to make that maze, so it's not just entirely just a ship you're walking through, but you're walking through pre-built sets.
They incorporated both, the pre-built and parts of the ship, which is cool.
So it's a little bit of both, and that's what's really was neat about it. So you would walk up, you would be on the first floor, and some parts would be pitch dark. There's a little hallway that was pitch dark, and it would be a monster on a ledge that would come running at you in the pitch dark, and they would have a light that lit up once they reached their point. And then at the end, right when you reach the last room, that's where Samuel is, and he would come out and just try to attack you, sort of like a psycho. This guy that's deranged and wants to destroy everything.
I remember when we come down the stairs from Feast, and we go into where you clocked out and costume and all that. There was the music they had for the cue line for B340.
Yeah,
it was this funky kind of it had an 80s vibe. It was synthesized, synthwave.
It really, and it went. That's the cool part too, is that it started at the beginning of the maze, then it stopped after the first room, and then it would continue right when you're leaving the last room.
Yeah.
So it was a sort of almost like a movie. It has the beginning and then it
was
has
a
the
soundtrack.
End, yeah, it was neat.
So we heard it going to our spots, and you heard it coming back, and you guys seemed like we were the last maze to always close because. All right, you guys are done. They sent us to our dressing room, and you guys still had your music playing, and people in your queue. I was like, "Damn, B340 is still going." I'm like, "I'm trying to get the fuck out of here." It's
Well, yes and no. Sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. Sometimes we could close early enough if there was a big enough line inside of the queue. So, because the thing is, I would always have to time it out just right. So, if I seen a giant line in the queue and it was already 11:30. I would have to be okay, we're cutting it off now because we're not going to close anytime soon if we keep all this. So there was a lot of people that would get upset with that, but that's part of being management. Is you have to deal with that.
How much of a difference from your management experience with Sinister Pointe to Dark Harbor? Obviously, it's two different animals, but how much of a difference? As far as responsibility wise, what stuff you had to handle?
There was a big difference. Sinister Pointe was very hands-on and very. How do you say it? It was very free for you to not only just do what you wanted, but at the same time do what you needed.
So you wore multiple hats, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it was very, you know, it was, I don't want to say laid back, but it was very much so like, sort of like a bunch of friends came together and built something, and, you know, we're just having fun, and, you know, obviously it wasn't always that way, but, you know, it was a great atmosphere, and we were just having a great time most of the time, even though it was a little hectic at points. But Dark Harbor is an actual, you know, they had everybody had a title, and everybody was doing
there was text management, talent management, there was costuming, there was,
and you know, coming from Sinister Pointe, where I sort of felt like I could do a lot, you know, I felt, you know, when I got to Dark Harbor that, you know, I tried to do the same, you know, I tried to work that in, but it didn't work out because it was a different animal. It really was.
Even like the break system for us, it's like Sinister Pointe, you got maybe a 15-minute break a night, maybe.
Yeah.
And the whole maze went. Over here at Dark Harbor, it was like we worked an hour and we're off for 30.
Yeah. That was the cool part.
I was like, man, I could sleep every time.
Sinister Pointe was great, you know, and the break system was I'm not trying to bash the break system for Sinister Pointe, because I did what I could with what I was handed. And, you know, I try to help out everybody, you know, all the cast that was there, everybody that needed something, I would help them get it in one way or another, you know, and try to ease them up, because a lot of the actors there, and a lot of actors I know in general, they don't want to take a break. They want to keep going. And
the only time I did when I was like, man, I'm tired.
Yeah.
My back hurts. But I was like, no, I want to keep going. It's like,
yeah. And, you know, that's the thing too, is that even if you were to tell them, I will go take a break, they wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
They would be like, no, I'm fine. I want to keep going. If I stop, I'm going to get stiff, or if I stop, I'm not going to feel right, or whatever. So, you know, it's not as bad as it sounds when we mention it, just so that way the listeners don't have feeling where it's like, oh, they didn't give them a break, you know, whatever.
No, it's just we sacrificed it.
And because it's a passion, you know. We all love what we do, and we all do it because we really want to not only express ourselves, but at the same time, we really want to have fun and do, you know, be there for the scare, or be there for people that need our help. So at Dark Harbor, I was in charge of the cast. I was in charge of the maze. But I was only in charge of the cast for my maze. And there was people separately that were in charge of the entire cast for the entire production. So the best part about Dark Harbor is that because there were so many people and there were so many titles, if I could reach out to any of them and ask them, hey, can you help me with this? And they would help me right away for whatever I needed. Not saying Sinister Pointe didn't do that. They did. Exactly, yeah. But at the same time, having so many people available really eased up the whole, you know, situation when it came to like, oh, I need a new. They would automatically find me actors if I had a spot that was missing without me even knowing. So if there was someone I called out that night, since they were in charge of the actors, they would automatically find someone. Either they would automatically call them in, like whatever list of people they had extras. Or they would pull someone from another.
I saw it all the time.
Yeah, and that was super cool because I didn't have to do any of that. I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to go running around trying to find someone to take a spot. You know, they did it for me, and you know, I would turn around, and all of a sudden, I would see another actor in the spot that I've been so used to seeing, like someone that I knew already in that spot, and I was like, "Who are you, and what's going on?" But
it's funny because when I got sick and they sent me home, they had someone fill my spot as a chef, and I saw who it was. And she was like 5'0", so like Justin's height, nothing personal, Justin. but she was like 5'0", and then she had like the breaker, like the breaking like Nike fingerless gloves. I'm like, at least black out the Nike swoosh on your gloves. But
she's sponsored, bro.
But she was tiny. I was like, you're filling the spot for a 6'4" dude with 280 pounds. And I was like, you know, she was like 5'0". But hey, she did her job. I was like, hey, it is what it is.
You know.
Yeah, they have great actors. They really do. And you know, I was always impressed, even after seeing them for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I was always impressed by what they could think of or what they would go out of their way to do as far as scaring and what they would do for the scare. Because there's so much more than just standing in like you can contest to this. There's so much more to just standing in a dark corner and just popping out, you know? That's old school stuff that doesn't really work anymore.
It works on some people, like easy scares, and there's some people you talk shit. You talk shit to them in a nice way, you know?
But that's the cool part is that, you know, they think on their feet and they're always ready for whatever they need to handle as far as like scaring or what they're doing in their position and how that works and what they can use towards their advantage and stuff like that. So every night was great because of that. You know, I got to know on a personal level almost the people I was working with as far as management team. And the people that were around me that was management, like Alicia that was next to me in Lullaby, because Lullaby was literally connected to practically pretty much was.
I remember.
So I would always see her on a regular basis every night, and we would talk, and you know, it was nice to have someone there to actually like to talk to and, you know, joke around with and not have to you know, not have to be by yourself, because the thing is, if you're the only maze manager there, everybody else is, you know, just doing their job and you're sort of just in the middle.
I had the biggest fucking jokers and meatheads in Feast, and just they were like I said on Tim's episode to play the chef. I was saying you guys were like the dudes from Delta House in the movie Animal House, just like the reject maze that everyone's like, oh yeah, fucking Feast, bunch of fucking meatheads. It's the loud, rowdy, just you know, headstrong, but they were like the coolest people in the world.
Yeah,
just
I mean, all of them were, honestly, from what when I met, like, as even if the people that weren't in my maze, I met them and they were fantastic people too. And you could tell there's a passion, like even with Sinister and with Dark Harbor, there's always a passion. You know, a lot of people, you know, they hate on Universal because they say, oh, they're just actors, they don't care about what they're doing and all that kind of stuff.
Their quality costumes and sets are just
like,
beyond. It's insane.
Great set designs.
Great set designs. Their
it's
costumes
top notch. It really is. So, you know, coming from that and seeing that, you know, it was an amazing experience. And, you know, being on a ship, like, not forget the whole maze thing, just being on the ship at nighttime,
hearing the foghorn, it pumped me up here.
Man.
And I was like, like I was really gonna kill someone in the maze. Yeah. Hey, you're just playing, Rick. I was like, because like they do, like, you know, the opening ceremony every night, and they always blew it in the middle of here. And I'm all strapping on that big utility belt with all the, you know. I'm like, I'm gonna kill a motherfucker tonight. I was like,
you know, even before that, because the cool thing about being a maze manager and being part of management is that you come in like at 4. Yeah. So because you come in at 4, you know, but then again, the characters do too. But that being said, we come in at 4. We get to be, we would like sort of meet up and talk about what's going on and how we're gonna do stuff. And then around, I would say 5, we meet up with all the management for the entire production.
Right.
We talk about what we need to talk about. And, you know, it would be daytime still. So we'd be able to see like everything as far as like the carnival stuff.
It was cool seeing the shit during the day.
Yeah. And, you know, it's something you don't think about, but it's like, it's there, you know, you get to see it in its prime because everything is so, you know, nice in the daytime. You get to see all the textures and all the colors, and, you know, in the mazes, you can see the mazes and like the ones that are on the pier in the daytime, and you get to see what's actually there. It
was cool to see the contrast, like day and night. You know, I would get there the earliest 5, sometimes like 4:30 on the weekends, and you saw it during the day, like the landing, the carnival area, all that, the rides and all that. And then at night when I was leaving, like the big Michael Jackson swings, the rides, and then you hear like the environmental sounds and the fog. I'm like, so you got a little bit of both. And just like I said, I heard that foghorn. It pumped me up. I was just like, it's so cool, dude. I was like,
you know, and I miss it all the time. Like honestly, like I'm not just saying that just because I worked there, but honestly, it was such like I was there so much, and you know, I got to love the ship. I got to love what was there, and you know, every day when we would after we would meet up and everything, we would go to lunch, or more or less not lunch, but just take a break before things started. And we would go up to the deck area, and there was a Starbucks there, and we would grab Starbucks, and I would just...
There was a Starbucks there?
There was.
If I would have known, shit.
But the thing is that I don't think... I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't think anybody was supposed to be up there except management, if needed to be. But I don't remember what the rules were.
I'm going to complain to David Walker. I'm going to message him on Instagram, Facebook.
I'm going to tell a quick story. I did sneak into Dark Harbor during the daytime.
You did Uber? Postmates.
I was working Postmates, and I was like, I looked at the address where I was delivering like this like boba tea stuff, and I was like, this is the Queen Mary, like what the hell, like, and so I get there and I deliver it to them, and then I make up an excuse. I was like, hey yo, you guys got a restroom I can use? Because I was like, I was just gonna like
Walking through the mazes.
It's like working at Postmates. I can clock out whenever I want. So it's like I clocked out and I was like, "You guys got a restroom I could use?" And then they're like, "Yeah, go through this fence." And I see the fence. I was like, "That's Dark Harbor's carnival area." I was like, "Oh man!" And I got to walk through, and I walked into like like where you walk the maze entrance to B340.
Yeah.
They're like all inside right there. Got to walk in there during the daytime and it was all empty. And and it was something. I kind of walked around the carnival a little bit. So anyone Dark Harbor, I'm sorry for trespassing, but
That's all right.
it was fun. It was so and it does have a different feeling. It was like, man, like I can even though it was daytime, I can still see what it's gonna be like at night. You know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
But,
So go ahead, Ernie. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. So every day, more or less, when we did get coffee to start, because we needed some coffee or an energy drink or something, because we had to get ready,
Right.
because there was a ton of stuff to do. So we would go upstairs, grab coffee, and then it is cool too because we have our uniform, so we look very professional just walking down, because it was still open in that point, the whole deck area had people and whatever, and we would just be walking around, and it was neat because I had a uniform, and I so once we got coffee and everything, I would look out the window and just look, and we would go towards the ledge where the elevators were, and I would just look over everything and just take it all in, being able to see
That's cool.
the entire pier,
Ship, the pier, everything.
yeah, the entire pier and just everything that was there, and I was just absorbing it, and it was such an experience, just something that I sort of honestly, I'm gonna say I took it for granted to an extent because now that's what's going on with it.
True.
And, everything that's happening, it's just so much. It sucks. It really does. I wish if everything had went well, I would have definitely been there last year, and hopefully if something works out, we can be there this year. But I mean, honestly, I even without Dark Harbor, I still miss the ship.
It was just cool. I'm gonna say one more thing and then we'll take a quick break. As I don't know where you guys parked at, but as far as Cass, we had to park off site down
So
the
did
way.
we.
Yeah, so remember we used to park in that one parking lot and they shuttled us over.
Yeah.
The drive over on that bridge, over the harbor, towards the ship. That was
a beautiful view.
Just seeing that view during the day, and then we have the same view at night. So I'm getting on the shuttle bus and I still got makeup on my neck and I'm like, hey, how's it going? My throat's all fucked up all night. And you're sitting there and you're not 100% you haven't really wound down yet or just unhinged from being in the maze. You're still kind of just on edge or just an adrenaline dump or whatever. And you're driving over that bridge, looking at the harbor, and you see the ship all lit up, and you're just like, oh, so that motherfucker's scaring people. It's that's just crazy. Well, that ship has history, and I'm a part of history not only because of the ship, because there's a day going to become, it could possibly happen, and we're never going to be able to do this ever again.
Yeah.
Let's say, heaven forbid, Dark Harbor goes away. Well, at least you have that experience. You're on there.
I mean, at least on the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're going away as far as but ship-wise.
Ship-wise, I'm looking back at the ship. I'm like, dude, I was on that ship tonight.
And
Exactly.
the thing too is that it was the 10th anniversary, and we got to be there for the 10th anniversary.
I was there for the 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the hat and the T-shirt. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, that's just another piece there that adds on to the whole, experience that I had was such an amazing one, because not only did I, get accepted into something that I would have never thought of that I would have been able to get accepted into, because, this is just me coming from Knott's where all I could do is dream about being part of Scary Farm.
And you're a manager over at Dark Harbor.
And, so it's just an amazing, sometimes I don't even believe it. Sometimes I'm just I can't believe I was there doing this, that doesn't really, sound like me. But at the same time, it's just part of my whole, construction of myself, I want to say, just from the previous years of, I'm still trying to build myself up and still trying to get more into the haunt industry that I love so much, because there's just so much to.
There's so much to do.
There's so much to do. There's so much.
I just want a regular season again and just go back to how it was in 2019. I did so much in 2019. So much.
Comparing to what's now, we did a ton of stuff. We really branched it. So, yeah.
So I think we're gonna take a quick little break.
Definitely.
Because Ernie's been talking for an hour straight practically. So
this is why you're here.
So we'll come back at it. That's the Justin button. It's like, hey Justin, so what have you been up to?
So sad.
It's like, hey Justin, how's the YouTube channel going?
In the heart.
And then
Time to go to break.
and I'm like, you came out with a new episode for your podcast?
Oh, it was a good episode. Oh my god.
I had no idea. I'm just fucking around.
I know.
Anyways, I'm here with Ernie, the creator designer of the Gray Phantom Haunted Yard display and maze manager at Sinister Pointe in Dark Harbor, and ScaredieCat Vasquez, YouTuber, podcaster, and recent. What's it? Are you a Twitcher?
Twitcher?
Is it-
Tweaker? No, I'm just kidding.
Is there?
I don't know what the term is, honestly. I just
You're on
started.
Twitch.
I'm on Twitch.
He's on
go with
Twitch.
that.
So
That
yeah.
is the thing.
I have 2 annoying neighbors. They're moving out there.
I don't know if you hear it. Yeah. Like,
Oh no, they come home late at night. They like to vacuum after 10 o'clock at night.
Oh wow.
Who does that? That's
Yeah,
sociopath.
yeah,
work
they're out here. By the time this podcast comes out, they'll be out here. So, yeah, they're really considerate and mature. Yeah, lovely ladies. I'm glad they live above me. So, anyways, this is the Creepcast, and we'll be right back.
Don't you dare try to escape. The Creepcast with Rick Creeper shall return.
Once again, we're talking about zombie donuts, guys. Yes, zombie donuts in the beautiful city of downtown Fullerton, California. This is Rick Creeper from the podcast. If you guys haven't been, go check out Zombie Donuts. Gonzalez family has owned and operated Zombie Donuts since 2014. I've been a regular since. It's not, and it's beyond them just sponsoring my podcast. I've been a supporter for them, God, since 2014, which I discovered on my own through my barber. I'm probably there 2-3 times a month, and I'm not gonna lie, I get 2 donuts and a coffee. Let's talk about the coffee. They got different variations of coffees, hot and cold, different variations of donuts. They got standard donuts, they got horror themed donuts. My personal favorite is the Bleeding Heart and Death by Chocolate. They got some pretty bomb vegan donuts as well. Did you know they had merch too? Yeah, they got some pretty cool merch. So if you're looking for a cool present for a zombie or a donut lover, go check them out. The t-shirts, they're really, really good quality. They got their t-shirts from Tino Evil. If you guys know Tino Evil, same dudes that make t-shirts from Midsummer Scream. Where you been? Downtown Fullerton. Go check them out. Support a small business. Now's the time. Go splurge. Bring home a dozen for yourself. Take them to work. Do what you got to do. Anyways, go check him out. Instagram, Zombie Donuts. Check him out in Fullerton. Tell Rick Creeper from the Creepcast podcast sent you. Trust me, guys, you're going to dig the vibe. You're going to like the donuts. I personally like to go early morning. Just a little insider note, so take note of that. Zombie Donuts, Fullerton, California. Scope them out. All right, guys, have a good one.
Where do you think you're going? There is no escape from the Creepcast with Rick Creeper.
Okay, we're back at it. The second half of episode 13 with my good friend Ernie, the proprietor and designer of the Gray Phantom Haunted Yard display, and special co-host ScaredieCat Vasquez, YouTuber, podcaster, and recently discovered Twitch gamer. Correct?
I be twitching now.
Be twitching, not twerking, but
Are you
twitching.
an e-girl now?
I'm an e-girl. I'm a c-girl. I'm all that stuff.
OnlyFans is next.
OnlyFans is, dude, feet pics for life, dog.
I ain't trying.
$5.
I ain't trying to look at your alien ass feet.
Dude, I got like handsome toes, dog.
Nah, you got primate feet.
Nah, they actually look gross, dude. They look like the Hobbits, like kind of foot, like when they're
Hey,
walking, all that
So
hair.
when you do make money, you'll know you've done something. You know, you've accomplished something
Exactly.
with that. You know.
Exactly, man.
Looking like George Lopez if he auditioned for the Lord of the Rings. He's a hobbit. So if you do Twitch, how do they categorize? You're just doing your gamer on Twitch then.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're called Twitchers or something. I don't know. I didn't really look up nicknames. I'm just doing it because it was like I have the laptop I use for editing videos. It's originally for gaming.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? Let me like put it to its proper use.
So you probably got like a good video processor,
Yeah.
like graphic card, and all that stuff.
Oh, it's
Okay.
really good, man. And it's so I've been messing around with that,
Okay.
and it's fun. Made a lot of friends. Made some new friends. A lot of the people in the haunt industry be twitching too, man. Like our friend Jeffrey from Sinister Pointe, he's up on there. And
sorry, Ernie's over here yawning.
I know. At
least he didn't do it on the mic. So
I know.
But now they know.
So what I'll do is, like I said in every episode, I'll put the links. I'll put in the description. I'll put the links to where they can find you guys on Instagram, Twitch, and all that, and YouTube and so forth. So, all right, Ernie. So we talked a little bit about your experience with Sinister Pointe, Dark Harbor, and then what I want to discuss. So your home hunt experience, and then also your influence to create the Grey Phantom.
Okay, so let's start with the influence. Obviously, it does look a lot like something out of Dark Harbor, and thankfully it does, because that's exactly what I based it off of. It was off of Dark Harbor, more or less the shipwreck maze.
Okay.
It wasn't on purpose. It's just how it came out to be. I wanted to make, originally the idea was to make the Queen Mary itself and add the rooms and everything how it looks, but just in the Queen Mary color.
Okay.
But once I started building it, I realized that I wanted to make it a little more creepy, a little more different.
A little darker.
Yeah, a little darker. I mean, I could have made it the whole like white and black that the Queen Mary has, but I wanted to give it that aspect of Dark Harbor, because I think if you would have just went with the white and black aspect, it would have just been Queen Mary, and Dark Harbor would not been,
It definitely gives off. So it was we went on your Haunter's night, which is cool because you gave out tickets to board the ship. Yeah. It looked massive in pictures, and we rolled up. I'm like, how the hell did he build this ship in the front of the house?
Yeah.
And then it just, the lighting, and I like the little peek-ins you had. So it was like a dining room, infirmary.
It was the first room is sort of a dining room / hotel room, more or less. It has giant windows in the back that were more reminiscent of like dining room like Titanic style windows, sort of like Queen Mary windows.
You definitely got like a 40s vibe. It looked kind of like not kind of like a cruise liner, but also like a military ship.
To an extent, yeah. I think the military ship aspect comes from the Grey Ghost, just the actual ship that was the Queen Mary for the 1940s.
Right.
So in the 1940s, the Queen Mary got repurposed to help the troops travel to, overseas. And it was called the Grey Ghost because the whole thing was painted gray to avoid, if I'm not mistaken, it was to avoid like being seen by the enemies.
So if I might have the facts incorrect, but what I remember when I read, it transported like 13,000 U.S. troops, like medical supplies and equipment overseas.
Yeah.
And this is where they got the concept of the rogue maze, because it almost sank out to sea, the Queen Mary. And they said if they wouldn't have made it with that journey, it would definitely have an effect on World War II.
Yeah. Being that there were so many, you could see, there's old pictures and you can see tons, and every single section of the ship is just covered with soldiers. Yeah. It's amazing to think that so many people are on that ship at one point, because nowadays when you used to visit it, you just see a handful of people here and there. But to think that the whole entire ship was completely covered with, with people it's amazing. And it really would have changed things.
It was damaged. I don't know if it got torpedoed.
Yeah, it got torpedoed.
Did it? Or was it attacked by German U-boats? I don't remember. Something happened.
I heard it was torpedoes, but it could be something else. I don't know. Because I think... I'm trying to remember the source, but I can't remember. But yeah, I remember reading somewhere online that it got torpedoed. It could be wrong, though.
And that's where you get they've done the EVP on a certain part of the ship. And you hear, like, the crashing of metal and, like, people screaming and, like, water rushing in.
Yeah, I mean, it's been through a lot. Like, it really has. It's amazing just through all this time, just the things that it's been through. And, my story that I usually think of when it comes to stuff like that, like morbid stuff to that extent, is the part where the Grey Ghost had to keep going, even though there was a ship in front of it that was sort of like the decoy ship or something. And I don't know if it just swayed the wrong way or turned the wrong way, because it had to go in. It had to be to avoid being shot by like submarines. It had to go in sort of like a zigzag pattern. So because it was doing that, it sort of just got stuck one way or another, or something happened to it where it had to stop, and the gray ghost had to run right into it. So
maybe that's how it got damaged. Maybe I might be mistaken.
I don't know all the stories, but I know that story where it literally the gray ghost went directly into that smaller ship and completely destroyed it.
Oh wow.
And killed a ton of people because of that. And it had to keep going. It couldn't stop. It couldn't stop to save anybody. Yeah.
I heard it was a sister ship to the Titanic. Like it was loosely designed.
What was
the Great
Queen
Ghost.
Mary?
Yeah, Queen Mary.
I'm not up to date with everything, but I know that I know that some of the stories to what happened and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it almost like the Titanic.
Yeah,
so,
it's like one of the few ships that was like physically built by hand. I mean, obviously there was welding and so forth, but like every single piece was built like pretty much a crew of men and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, to think about how things were built back then, it's amazing. Just the engineering that everybody went out of their way to do. You know, having giant like piles of like pillars that were being built just to put stuff on the ship and stuff like that. The
one thing that creeps me out to this day, I don't like the propeller section where it's in the water.
Oh, where you look right down at it?
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't know why that creeps me out. Like
it's weird. Like it's just a propeller, but somehow it creeps us out.
The way it's lit up, I'm like, nah.
It's because you think about that propeller took it to so many voyages and like all this stuff. It's like it's just so much.
I think to me it's just the depth of it.
The depth.
Too.
I don't like dark water. Yeah. I don't like. I used to love. I still do. I go on the water. We go to the beach, but like the way they lit up the propeller and it's dark and it's just. I mean, illumination. I don't like it.
Seeing something that's so huge at the same time that you could literally fall into, like the propeller is huge. That hole that's right there that has the water is huge. That sort of freaks mentally. That could freak anybody out.
There's actually a phobia, a fear of like large ships. I don't know the term of the phobia, but people they don't like going over bridges, or they don't necessarily like large structures, or like things like buildings or actual like ships. People freak out, which is I get it. I don't like the deep ocean, so excuse me. So you pretty much created the Grey fandom just because you were influenced by the Queen Mary.
Yeah, being there and, realizing that it wasn't going to happen last year, and, the sadness of it. I told myself, this is sort of like this was the beginning of September when I thought about what I was going to do. And, it hit me like lightning one day, just when, I was sitting in my bed or in my room, and, I thought about it. I was like, what if I did make the ship? If I'm not going to be at Queen Mary or Dark Harbor, why not just work on something? Because I told myself, especially because of what was going on, that if I didn't do anything this year, I would have kicked myself by the end of it. Seeing everybody else's, like I already knew there was going to be a lot of people, doing home haunts and. Not actually mazes, but actually doing displays and all that. And I knew I was gonna see it. So I was like, if I don't do something, I know I'm gonna hate myself by the end of the time. And knowing me, I might even try to build something last minute, and it'll be crappy because I rushed it and it was done in like a week or whatever. But,
I remember because you were helping out over at with Michael at 1870 Haunt Manor.
Yeah, I helped him a day or two. Yeah,
it was you, me, and Bill Galvin from Whole House Haunt. And you're like, yeah, you told us I'm gonna do something. And it was like September. We're like, it's September.
And I didn't even know what it was. I thought I had told you that day, the first day that we had met up, like when we were building that, I think it's gonna be a ship. I feel like I can make a ship. I think I could. I didn't have anything planned.
We saw some of the pictures that you and Myra were working on. I'm like, is he doing a walkthrough?
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it's like this fucking ship in the front yard. I'm like, dude, when did Ernie have the time to build this ship in the front yard?
It's the good part is that being that we have a long driveway and a whole backyard, I had space to build, even if it wasn't in the front yard, And on top of that, I knew the front yard because we have done the displays in the past.
That's true.
So
you know the footprint pretty much.
I knew the lay of the land, and I knew what I could do with it and how I could do it, and So I did what I do. I liked art, you know. So I started drawing out the sketches of what I could build, what I thought about, and how far I actually wanted to go as far as details. Because for me, I love just small details. You know, I love putting just small stories into everything that might be in a room, you know. So when I finally decided to draw stuff, I had different concepts, but one of the concepts that I had originally is that first room that has those giant windows. Like that was something I really wanted to do, and
the back projector of that first room, you can see the ocean.
Yeah,
that just blew my mind. There was like a dining cart with like catering trays, or like
it was a full on metal catering tray that actually I got from my grandma, because she used to help a lady that was disabled. She would bring the stuff into her that way, and she just happened to have it available, so I borrowed it from her.
I think you had a prop skeleton sitting in a chair.
I had a prop skeleton, and you know, I wish I could have did a better effect, but the effect I had on that skeleton was that I shot a projector on it of a ghost, and I used some of the projection fabric to shoot that on, and it came out nice. But I there's always improvements that I could have made as far as that goes. But I definitely, you know, one thing I love is projections, because there's so much you can do with it without having to do a lot.
You had a lot of projections.
I started off with one old one that I had from previous years that was so old that I couldn't use anymore, because it didn't have all the stuff. Like, it didn't have an SD card on the side that I could plug into.
Oh, wow.
Like that little slot right there. I had to go off of like the axe cables. So I was like, I can't use that. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to use that. So I ended up going to OfferUp, because honestly, a lot of stuff you see me with, like my printers, my the 6-scale figures and all that, I get it on OfferUp. Like it's rare if I buy stuff new, because I'm so open to, either if I do buy something, I can fix it, or I can work on it, or whatever. Like, I'm so open to that. Like, if I have to buy something new, then, you know, I will. But if I might have to wait, you know. But that's the best part about OfferUp, is that I have to give a lot of credit to OfferUp on top of that, because a lot of the stuff for the ship I found on OfferUp. So
you wouldn't even think about, like, the ship had like a lot of detail, and then it looked distressed, it looked old, and you're like, yeah, you know, I got this styrofoam for free. No, you were pointing. So there was the quarters, dining area room, whatever you want to call it. Then there was the infirmary. Then there was like the boiler room.
Yeah.
You had a furnace, I think.
Yeah.
Then you had like the electrical boxes and all that.
Yep.
And I'm like, hey, I like how you did the electrical conduit, the plumbing. You're like, yeah, I got that free, like in a field, or you said something.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I got that free. I just painted it. And I'm like, fuck. And I'm like,
very resourceful.
Exactly.
That's the thing about me, is I'm not cheap, but I just don't have all the money in the world. So I definitely try to, you know, do what I can with it. And, you know,
you really know how to work with what you got, basically.
Yeah, I definitely.
What the Grey Phantom showed is you worked with whatever resources you had available to you.
Yeah, you know, that's part of being me, is that I try to find the art in everything. You know, I really do. The small details, the stories that can be told. And OfferUp, being that I've been on it for like at least 2 years, I sort of know how things run and how they work and what I'm looking for. And a lot of times you do find stuff for free that people just want, you know, to get rid of. So I found a lot of piping for free. I found some piping that was for sale, but it was dirt cheap.
Okay.
So
instead of going to Home Depot and buying it brand new.
Yeah. I mean, you can find stuff that was just maybe extras that was like left over from a construction site or whatever that people are selling for, like, you know, only a few bucks here and there. So like the giant piping, some people are extremely nice too. The giant piping that I got for like the boiler room and all that was actually, they brought it to me because I told them I couldn't pick it up in person because I didn't have a big enough truck, because they were 10-foot pipes.
Okay.
But the cool part about those pipes is that you could cut it with a regular saw, because they weren't that thick. They were just long and long. So that's the best part, is that OfferUp, you know, they came in when I really needed them, when I had to find fencing, when I had to find paint. I found some like extra paint that people weren't using. I found some wood, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I found a ton of wood. I found people are giving away pallets of wood. People are giving away wood that was used in crates. So I literally found free flooring that was actually meant to be the bottoms of crates, like those giant crates that you would put like giant statues in and ship them overseas or whatever. I actually found some of that, and it's really thin, really thick plywood. So it's so thick, and some of the bottoms of those crates have like 2x4s that are already attached. So that's what I use for the flooring.
Okay.
For the flooring, I just set them out, and I'm sort of seeing if like, okay, so how long is it going to be if I set out like 3 different panels on the floor that had the 2x4? So at least the 2x4 was there, so it wouldn't be laying on the grass. So like when moisture would set in, it wouldn't eat away at the wood. It would eat away at the 2x4s. So I would set those out. I would measure it out and see what I could work with, and how if it was going to be what size, as far as being a huge thing or a small thing. And then I would just pile on top of those. If I needed more wood, I had the plywood that came along with those crates that was really thick.
So you really just improvised everything you had, like just instead of buying sheets. Because
not a lot of it, was set out 100%. Like, oh, let me get a floor design and let me start, cutting wood to this extent. Some of it was, but a lot of it was just me figuring out what I could work with, like Justin has said, and how I can put stuff together, and with the time I was given, because I have a side job that I do in the daytime, and I would do that, and then right when I would come home, it would be around 4ish. I would start working on the front, and I would not stop until maybe 6 or 7. So we would be cutting wood, we would be putting stuff together, screwing stuff up, and I would be I would try to post too, because like you had mentioned, and something that I had realized is that I had started late in the game when it came to building something. So it was already like mid-September, and I was
I remember you got a late start compared to some of us, and I remember me and Michael were going to Home Depot like almost like every time I was there.
Yeah.
For 1870, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna start building, and we're like, Ernie's only got like maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah. And I used every day I could. On Saturday and Sundays I'd be off, so I would continue like nonstop every day in the daytime. And
way to keep it professional. Who cares? It's not like it's Joe Rogan or someone.
I'm so sorry.
Justin's all sorry.
The real question is, do you like elk meat? But so I once I got going, I was nonstop going to Lowe's and dropping $80 at a time, $90 at a time, which sucked. But at the same time, I was like, I need this, I need that, I need wood. Not everything could be bought on OfferUp. Sad to say, but not everything could be. Yeah, so I would be going to get 2x4s and metal like pieces to attach stuff. Like the framing work that I did for like the hallway was attached by metal framing too. It wasn't just wood that was screwed in to another piece of wood.
Okay.
So I really, try to make it as solid as possible. And it was done in pieces too. So I would, once we first started like bringing stuff out, the hallway was done first. And Justin could can contest to this, or can go along with this. Yeah. I remember showing you the hallway. And that was the first thing I built, and it was only that. And I was like, hey, look, this is what I got. And then I was showing you in the nighttime. And I was like, yeah, and this is what I'm going to do with it. And so we rolled out the hallway, because I had wheels on the hallway. I put it in the bottom of the platform itself. So we rolled out the hallway to the front, to the middle of the house. And I already knew that was going to be my main solid piece. And I built everything on that. So I just expanded from the hallway on. So the hallway was the real like thing that held everything together, and everything else was just built extra.
Okay.
So I started building that, and I'm like, okay, so what is a ship? How does a ship look? What can I make it? What can I add to make it look like 3-dimensional and not just some wall against wall that looks like it's painted like a ship, So I started, when I started making the framing, I started angling it more, and like the front was angled so it looked more like a tip of a ship and not just another wall that was put up there. I'm very used to foam and how to shape foam and how to cut foam and how to melt foam. So I decided, instead of making plywood, because I hate plywood because it's a hassle to work with.
Michael, we had so many sheets of plywood for that monster that he built in 1870.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Shout out to Michael, by the way. It was
just
great. Yeah.
it was insane. Like he built 90% of it himself.
Yeah.
He was out there late at night painting and all that. We helped him here and there, but I was like, dude, this is like literally you could build a real house. It's like he sat there, he designed it. I forget what software he used to design it, but like he was like, nope, it's got to be cut a certain way. He'd throw away reject pieces. He's like, he wanted everything to be precise.
Yeah.
And I can see why, because it's like, it's his baby. And if you look at it, you're like, dude, that looks like a real fucking house.
It did.
I mean, he built that second platform. He's like, hey, check it out, but don't tell anybody. And he built that platform. He's like, we had 3 of us up there. It could hold you. I'm like, cool. But he's like, no one's going to expect that.
Yeah.
That whole tower right there was totally unexpected, and it was like, what the hell? Like that was the thing that let you know, like, all right, you're here.
He's like, go up there really quick. I was like, all right. It was a pain in the ass to get up there sometimes, and like the window was the window jam was a little low for me, but I was like, all right, I could hunch over and do my thing. But yeah, he went crazy with plywood, but he got what he wanted. So it's like, and everybody was like, oh my god. But like yours, we pulled up, and there's this ship. And it looks like you kind of did forced perspective, like you know how they do in Disney, where the castle looks huge, but it looks like it's far away, but it's actually miniaturized. So
yeah, I mean, I wish I could build the whole ship, but but I had to go with what was the size that the best size I can give, and the size I ended up with was a 15-foot long ship, and it was 12 feet tall.
It seemed longer than that.
Yeah,
you would think so, but it was 15. It was
because you had the peekins, and then like I said, that I saw, and it was funny because I saw the mechanical boiler room. I was like, I could wear my overalls and just hang out in there if you want.
Yeah.
And then we were joking around, and
funny enough, I wish we could have did something like that, but maybe another time. But
well, here's the thing: we never shared this with anyone. So like I was cracking jokes. I'm like, yeah, I'll just wear my outfit and just have Jessica, who does my makeup, on me different makeup. Or I was like, what if like a captain or something like that?
Yeah.
So me and Ernie kept start sending each other like captain costumes, and I was like, no. I really, really wanted to. Like, I was like, I could probably hustle both. I could do like 1870 certain nights, and then come over here and do the Grey Family.
It was just too late notice. It really was.
Here's the thing, because it's like, I had no intentions of working nowhere besides helping Michael. And then me and Krista like, okay, you're not working an actual like full season of Haunt, and you can work what nights you work in 1870. I'm like, this night. So we mapped out, we're gonna make the best of it. Yeah. We're gonna make the best of it. So we got tickets for the hayride, then we got tickets for something else, then we went to Night of Jack up in Calabasas, which was fucking badass. So the history of Calabasas is it's like one of the first like areas where they grew pumpkins here in Southern California.
Okay.
Los Calabasas, which means pumpkins.
Really?
So what it was, some dude was bringing, I guess, produce from Northern California down here to Southern California. Some seeds or a pumpkin fell off his wagon. Seeds got into the ground and they sprouted everywhere. It was the coolest display. So we planned all this stuff to do. I'm like, well, I'm not going to work anywhere. Yeah, Urban Legends was hiring, and I was just like, and the hayride started hiring. I'm like, and I was like, hey babe, I'm gonna apply for the hayride. And she's like, okay, just see what happens. Didn't think nothing of it.
Yeah.
I get called like a week later, and they're just like, hey, we want to put you on call, but like it's probably gonna be on call, then we're gonna put you on main cast most likely right after. I was like, shit. They're like, because you fit the role of like certain characters we want to play. I'm like, let me so I went back to Krista. I'm like, hey, the fucking hayride hit me up, She's like, well, you already kind of committed to like 1870. You're helping Bill. We're helping Bill build his, the whole house, and you're helping Michael, and you're gonna scare act.
Shout out to Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
Whole house.
Yeah, Bill's in Arizona now.
Oh right, that's right. He moved. Oh,
yeah, someone's getting his facade. So I wonder who. I just had all these commitments, and we made plans. She's like, plus we made plans already. She's like, you might never have a year off ever again.
Yeah.
So I was like, you're right. So as much as I wanted to do the hayride, I just told him, hey, I'd love to do it. I wasn't planning on working at all. I already committed to building over here. I already committed to building over there, and I'm going to be acting here. And I was like, if it wasn't for the prior commitments I made, I would totally go work. And they totally understood. They're like, that's great. It shows that you're being professional. They're like, it's great. You committed to the home haunts. You know, we understand. No hard feelings. I'm like, well, hopefully this you know, we can still have a relation still later on down the road. I'll be honest with you. If the hayride's going to stay here in San Dimas, hell of a lot closer than driving to Griffith Park.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so I was like, okay, so but their whoever it was, their talent, what was her name? I forget. I'm sorry, but she totally understood. I emailed her and we talked on the phone. She totally said, yeah, you already got commitments. So I already said no to the hayride. I said no to this and that and there. And he's like, what if like we get a captain costume? You can be the captain of the great Phantom. And I was like, I could do like whiteout contacts. And just like I was like.
Your mind was going already.
It was. I was thinking about it, and I mentioned to Krista. She's like, "How are you going to do everything?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Never mind." So yeah, so we threw that idea there about the ship having a captain. I was like, yeah. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it would have worked, but at the same time, I wasn't prepared for it, and you know.
Well, shit. Bill was trying to get me to go over to his haunt. Gravedigger Joe, and then Bill's like, I want Gravedigger Joel to come over the whole house.
There we go, copyrights. Yeah.
So Bill's like, "Where are you gonna come over?" And there was like this whole rivalry, like this jokes between him and Michael, and then I guess Bill had like his nephews out there.
Oh yeah.
And then we were making fun of them. They were like in Vans, and they had like day glow like Nike gloves on. One of them had like a Michael Jackson like Thriller hat on, and it's like, and we're making fun of Bill. We're like, "What's up with your monsters in your yard display, dude?" It's like we were making fun of him. He's like, at first we thought it was Bill because Bill's thing he's always wore a flannel.
Yeah.
And just he always wears like a flannel jean with his mask. It's always making fun of him. It's like, dude, like your monsters are always wearing like flannel, like they're a grunge monster or something like Nirvana. So we thought it was Bill out there. He's like, no, it's my nephews, and they put on like spooky claws, and so we just kept making fun of him. It's just like a running joke, but
it's like we said, you got to work with what you got.
That's exactly. So yeah, so the whole concept of like having a captain, we thought about it, but it's like it's not gonna happen.
I mean, I really, it would have been fun, and I would have enjoyed it because I really think that it could have done really great, more so it would have done a better just presentation in total with the scare actor aspect of it.
Yeah, because you gotta have the actor like inside the Pekins, and I would have played it like not scary, like I would have played it like a real captain, but just have like monster makeup. You know?
Because the thing that I noticed, you know, I'm not knocking my display in any way or form or whatever, but you know, it's once you see it, you know, it doesn't change. It's just there, and you see you've seen what you came to see, and that's it. There's nothing different.
Yeah, but nobody else had like a fucking Phantom ship in their front yard.
I know.
Well, no, like I said, I'm not knocking in any way. It's just that from my perspective, it needed more interaction.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know, I'm not trying to say that my thing sucked because I love how it came out, but once I seen what could be done, and once I seen how scare actors were being put into displays like at 1870 and at Whole House, and you know, all of a sudden I'm looking everywhere and I'm like, oh, they have actors.
Everyone had actors.
Yeah.
And then here I am with like no actors and you know just the projections, and I'm like, okay, so I could have did something.
What's funny about 1870, it's like a couple nights there was 3 of us there.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, 3 should be enough. Dude, we were like, I was like, why is there more people? I'm like, we were like, fuck, I'm gonna go back and take a break. And there was like literally at times like just like an army of people standing out front, photo ops, getting candy, people driving by. It got to a point where like, dude, there's too many people in this cul-de-sac. I was just like,
luckily it's a cul-de-sac, so that way you don't get like a lot of traffic, you know?
Yeah.
I was trying to like drink water and not break character, and then Michael bought like this insane like $500 fog machine from like Guitar Center. It was like concert grade. He's like, oh dude, this is like what they use like on Ghost Town. So I was right by it. He was fogging the shit out of it. So I was hiding in the fog. I'm like, okay, I can drink my water.
There we go.
It was just like, but there was like times I couldn't even see. So like, and when I was cracking up, I was laughing in the fog. No one could see me, but like it got so packed. But to the fact that he had actors, like people caught on. They're like, dude, like people drove by and they're like looking at the yard display, and I'm like, you know, just doing the campy scare acting bullshit.
Yeah.
But just having that I see your point, but they having the interaction, people, some people were like, oh, some from watching from a distance. Some people were terrified. It's like hit him with the thunder jugs.
Yeah.
Just yelling at him. It's like
that's what we used to have in the mazes that we did. We had like these little cans of tin cans, and it would put like beans in them, and then when you would shake them, it'd have that effect. But yeah, that's something that but at the same time, I was thinking about COVID, and I was thinking about how we would work that in if that was going to happen. Yeah. So I think that's part of like at least 50% of why I didn't do it, just because of the fact that it was risky, and I don't want anybody to be in that situation where they get sick, or I don't want my actors to get sick if that was to happen.
Well, we played it smart because we had masks.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you guys didn't, or I'm not saying anybody else didn't, but I just, for me especially, just because I worry about my dad and my mom, just in general. So I was just like, I really don't want to touch that.
Okay.
But the interesting part is that the ship itself started out as a display on my paperwork that I was drawing up. Like I wanted it to be a walk-in, and I was going to make it with those same rooms, but I was actually going to have it walk through the front fence, and then it would come around to the front door of our house, and then it would come around to the driveway again.
Okay.
So you would see that you wouldn't have the peepholes. You would actually have a full ship that wasn't broken in any way. And then you walk in the ship, and you don't know what's in the ship because you can't see it there's no peepholes.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
So it would be completely blacked out as far as the front. So when you would walk in, you would look to the left, and you would see a giant boiler room area that would go all the way to the fence, and it would look massive. And you would have dead spots that look like they would drop because it would be so dark in there. And
what was your favorite area to build?
I honestly, I don't have a favorite. Everything was so like, everything's different in its own way. Like the boiler room obviously it's not the hallway.
Yeah.
So like I said, I like adding stories to everything. So the boiler room is based off of a design from the not the Haunted Mansion, but the I can't think of the name right now. Tower Terror.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
I can see that. Okay.
Yeah.
It was based off of that. So the Tower Terror has a boiler room that you walk into before you get onto the elevator.
Okay.
And all of that boiler room area and that lighting, the exact lighting, is what I used in that area.
It's such a shame they got rid of it.
I know, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Stupid.
it's still in Florida, but
yeah,
sucks. I don't know when we're going there. But,
I know, right?
But yeah, so that lighting was exactly the same. So the way it was angled, the way it was set up, the color of the blue, the color of the red was just the right amount to mimic it. So a lot of people would come up and say, hey, that looks familiar, or they had some type of like feeling about it, and I would tell them that, oh yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
To me, it kind of resonated because I was like, I got like a Feast vibe from Dark Harbor. I'm like,
yeah,
I kind of like Feast, like in the mechanic area, but then also like the dining quarter or whatever it was, that kind of reminded me of Feast too. I was like, yeah, I kind of get kind of a Feast vibe on this ship. Like,
well, I mean, walking in there, it does help actually being able to walk around the mazes of the Dark Harbor without having to be, stopped. So I definitely learned what I could from Dark Harbor when I was there, and I would analyze everything as whatever I seen. So if I seen something a certain way, I'd memorize that and I would use it if I could. So I built the boiler room to resemble a Tower of Terror, but at the same time, it was its own boiler room. And then the hallway was a replica of the infirmary hallway from Queen Mary itself.
Okay.
So it had the same color flooring, it had the same color walls. It was two different colors on the wall. It was the light blue in the bottom and then the white on top. The next room, like Rhea mentioned, is the dining room area, and that one was what really brought out the whole 1940s aspect of it. So I made those giant windows, and that was like 2-inch thick plexiglass that I used, that I had to pick up from OfferUp again. But I literally fit it in my small car, and I scraped the insides of my small car because I didn't have anywhere else to put it.
Wow.
So I
That's
literally,
commitment.
yeah, it is what it is. I had to go. I needed those plexiglass. So I put up those 2 plexiglass. I made an entire frame around that to hold up those plexiglass because they weigh like a ton almost. And then once I had everything set up, I put the chair in there. I put the little cart in there. I made a fireplace. Not everybody can see the fireplace because it was like, again, forced perspective. So the fun part about the ship is that what I would tell people is that depending on where you're angled, you can see different stuff. Mm-hmm. You don't get to see everything like if you're in one spot. So you sort of do have to walk around to see everything. So if you look to the right of the first room, you could see the fireplace.
You see the fireplace. I remember
and it was
that.
a full-on, I want to say it was like 4 feet wide by like maybe 4 feet tall. It was a big fireplace, and I made it. I cut some plywood, made it a solid fireplace so it looked more, it just came together more as a fireplace, and it had very nice looking like old-fashioned like wood, like a wood frame on it to make it look like that 1940 aspect. So within the first week, I realized what was working and what wasn't working. So I decided to make a mix of a song that I'd got, which was I think it was Todd Rowland's "The Boogeyman."
Yeah.
So
that's the one from BioShock, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I don't know that one.
It's like I'm the boogeyman.
Yeah, it's like boo, I'm the boogeyman. What's funny?
Terrible.
We kept.
If that's where it is from, I didn't know that. But
We kept.
now I know.
We kept singing that like when we got to the 1870. Me and Jeffrey and then Nick too. We kept singing that. Kept saying because we were in a chat on Instagram. It was called "The Souls of the Manor," and we kept sending that YouTube video to us. We're quoting it. So when we're putting like our blackout or whatever, we're like, "Ooh, I'm the boogeyman."
Is that before or after?
Before and after, and then Michael had that the loop of that song. I forget the name of that song, but Emmanuel Menji did like a loop of like this, the white noise with that music playing.
Yeah.
It's like you belong to me. We kept singing that in the back, and it's like we couldn't get those two songs out of our head. So it's like so we kept sending like stupid memes and YouTube videos of that. But so we get to your haunt. I'm like, oh dude, Ernie's got the Boogeyman song here too. I was like, okay. I was like,
what's funny too is this sort of has that what is the right word I'm looking for? It's funny too because of the whole being a manager for the Boogeyman Express. And now
think about that. Oh
yeah.
Wow, okay.
So that's part of that whole. It was funny that it came up that way, and so I added that soundtrack. I mixed it in. One thing I've done in the past, that I've done with other mazes, is that I slice video together. I slice music together if I need it. And I've always been able, it's been doing it for so long that I used to do it for CDs. So it's been,
wow.
So I literally would burn CDs and put them out there.
Burning CDs on the 2-tier drive. It's like, wow. That's like that.
So,
in the LimeWire days. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. And,
wow.
So I put that out there and I'm like, yeah, that brings that room together. So that's perfect. I love it. Just the whole, there's a lot of research that went into the entire ship. It was a ton of time just me looking at YouTube videos trying to find the right song, trying to slice it the right way, because it wasn't the complete song. It was just maybe like a 30 seconds of a specific part of that song. So then I did the projections in there, and I added all the speakers around the entire ship. So the ship not only had speakers in the room, but it had speakers outside.
I remember that you could hear the environmental sounds. Like you had I think you had like
the ocean.
The ocean.
Yeah. I had the ocean, plus I had creaking seagulls and creaking metal. That was from some video game. I forget what the game name was, but it would literally just be like as if like an abandoned ship was just within the ocean. You could just. I
think you said, "Well, Aaron, you need a foghorn." You're like, "Yeah, I don't know if their neighbors would like that."
Yeah, as much as I would love to do that,
I would have rang it every hour. Midnight. Oh, God damn it, Ernie.
So I would add the speakers to the entire frame, and I would put it behind the foam, and I would cut little holes in the foam that you wouldn't be able to see in the nighttime, and it would be able to project that way.
Okay.
So once we got into, I after that point, after the first week, I had added that in, and I said, you know what? I feel like there's still something missing because we have a second story. Second story was pretty much just a blackout of like windows and plastic that was like made for those windows. That plastic that was
it's okay.
That plastic that was up there, was actually like painter's plastic, like
Okay.
that really thick.
Yeah,
like,
so
roll.
you type off an area to paint. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just rolled it across to make the windows.
Okay.
And I felt like it was a little bit dead up there. Funny enough, but it was too dead. So I bought another projector. Going back to projectors, I got all my projectors on OfferUp, and I bought 6 in total.
Oh wow.
So I had 6 projectors in total with the ship, and that's when I decided the 6th one was going to be on the second story. So the second story had a projector of people running back and forth.
I remember that. That was cool.
Yeah, people really loved that part, you know, and it was very nice to see it come together. It was just like a last minute thing I thought about, and you know, to see it, you know, come alive and actually look like real people were up there was really neat. So we added that up. Mind you, all my all the videos that I have projection wise were from Atmos FX.
Yeah.
Except for the ocean one, which is a stock video that I had found by
that was
doing a lot of research.
That was a cool effect. Like the water, the waves like
Yeah.
rolling in and out. It's pretty cool.
It was neat, you know, and luckily enough, I had enough space to actually make it wide enough to fit that both windows together. So in the end, you know, I'm just happy I had all the support of, you know, you guys and you know, everybody else that came.
Haunter's Night. So I was there. Me and Michael went. Bill met us there. Bill from Whole House Haunt. Yeah, Sinister Pointe people. You had Dark Harbor people there. You had I forget their names from Park and Cons, the podcast and YouTube. They were there that Haunter's Night. Who else was there? Some other people. Just a lot of people like here in the, you know, from the California haunt community.
They showed up and they showed their support, and I couldn't, you know, this is coming from someone that really is not, you know, not been, you know, you have to remember, I came from just having home haunts, you know, big ones that were like really nice, like in my opinion, but at the same time, you know, we were only local. We weren't someone that would like promote, let me go make a name for myself on Instagram.
You had I think you were on the SoCal Haunt list this year.
This year I was.
And then Parks and Cons showed up. You had Rick West come down.
Yeah.
Really,
Summer Scream director.
Yeah, you had a lot of people show up. I mean, you had your Haunter's Night, I think Tuesday.
Yeah, on a Tuesday.
And then 1870, we had
on Wednesday.
So I was like, let's see, people were there. I was like,
yeah,
that was cool. Yeah,
you know, and it's just, it was such an amazing experience that I got to, you know, be a part of. You know, even if I built everything, it's just like a great, you know, just coming from, like I said, coming from somewhere where no one knew me, you know, even when we were doing the displays and the home haunts, and you know, now finally I get to meet people that I've always looked up to, you know. I get to meet people that I've always said, oh, that guy is great, or that woman's great because they've done this, or you know, they've done so much for the community, and you know, they actually came to visit me and came to see the ship. That means the world. It really does.
It's funny because I was catching up on episodes of Parks and Cons, and they're like, yeah, and I'm listening, and they're like, oh, we went over here to wherever, Santa Monica, and they're like, then we drove down to Norwalk to check out the Gray Phantom Ball. That's Ernie. No, I know that dude. And then we made our way over to Orange County to 1870 Haunt Manor, and I was like, that's right, I was fucking there. And I was like, it's just funny to hear. I'm like, dude, I know these people.
Yeah.
I was just like,
I mean, all the people that you know, Rick Vest, out of all people, you know, he actually came to see it, and you know, I love Midsummer. I've always gone to Midsummer.
You're right.
I have.
Of course, he showed up at night. I wasn't at 1870. I'm like, man.
Oh.
I was gonna scare the shit out of him. And he wasn't there, but he came by. I mean, but it's not about me. It was about Michael and his build. I mean, he did an amazing job. You did an amazing job on the Great Manor.
Yeah, I mean, we all did an amazing job. I think in general, just, you know, bringing the haunt community together, and you know, not letting the season go to waste.
Not the season go to waste. Like we made the best of it. It's like, I felt very fulfilled. Halloween was a little weird.
It was.
It's just another night. I mean, you know, honestly,
but
it really was.
Not because your wedding night, but
no. It was because I'm laughing because like it really was like,
because everybody was like, so what do we do? I'm like, well, apparently we look at the moon.
Anybody.
We look at the moon, and I didn't see shit.
And if I may, like from an outside perspective of just a fan, you know, because I don't work in the industry like you guys do. I'm not a builder. I'm not a scare actor. Or I've never been a manager. But as an outside perspective, you guys really did kind of make this last year, 2020's Halloween, somewhat memorable in a ways of like, yes, we remember because, oh my God, COVID, but also too, we got to see this is what people who are truly passionate about this holiday really do when they like put their minds to it, and they do something out of the kindness of their own heart to just keep the spirit alive. And then that's what really, I would hope, at least for me and my family and everyone that I took out to the places, that we would remember it for, because it's like, you know, even though everything was going on, there was regulations and stuff like that, you guys still put on a lot of hard work, put on an amazing show and amazing displays just for us fans. You know what I mean? And that's something beautiful right there, you know?
I think when you're just passionate, you're willing to sacrifice, you know. One day, me and Michael were just simply painting and trying to get shit done. And he was, I was painting, whitewashing something, and he was trying to figure out the solenoids for the air cannons. And it was just way too hot to be out there. And we were both like, fuck.
I would tell him that too. I'm like, dude, you gonna work tomorrow? It's gonna be fucking hot. Yeah. Like, why?
and you know, it was rough. And there was times that we bumped heads. And then, without going into details, we had something going on in our family that just going on with someone's health, and just like all this happened at once.
Yeah.
Like just we're like someone's getting surgery. It's hot. You know, some days we got along, some days we didn't. Ultimately, it comes down to it's like the sacrifice because you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
And you know, Michael's like, I'm taking a break. He did. He disappeared. I think he's back east right now visiting family members. But he's just like, he checked out for a while. He just got back on. We've been chatting, sending stupid memes, like the new Bernie Sanders meme going on right now.
With him sitting down.
Yeah, we're just cracking up and just.
Yeah, I needed a break after all that too. Like it was.
I did too.
Yeah.
Even though I was like, hey, this was supposed to be like a different year, but it's busy as hell. It's like. Because there were some nights I struggled just being a a stupid scare actor. I was just like, man, I'm not today. Just everything going on.
It's just even though everything was built, I still had to put it out. You know, I still had to get it going. All the projectors would have to be turned on and set the right way, and you know, I had to take apart the tarps. Luckily enough, the way it was built, the cool part about that whole entire thing is that. The way it was built is that all I needed to do every night was cover up the peepholes, which with tarping, and make sure it was secure. Mm-hmm. That was it. On everything else, it would just be unplugged, which is not horrible. But when you get back into it and you have to do it the next day, you have to take apart the tarping, you have to get the video going again, and the sound. You have to make sure the sound was on the right way and playing the right way. You know, and then to top it off, I added on during the last few weeks. I added on a whole screen display that was like "Welcome to the Great Phantom." You know, I made like a whole little video.
You guys, the candy shoot too with the animatronic.
Yeah,
I remember that.
That was my brother and my dad that decided to make that, and you know, they wanted to add their little touch to the ship, so they decided to make like a skeleton that looked like it was rotting away with like a soldier hat on, and they made like a giant pipe to shoot the candy through, which doesn't work perfect most of the time. You really have to force it down there, or else it's not going to work. But yeah, it was so cool. And you know, it was like I went from having like a little laminated paper on a wall on the side of the ship that said, "Oh, this is the Great Phantom" and all that, to making my own video that had motion to it that was like "Welcome to the Great Phantom." I felt so professional for a minute. It was so neat, and even I was like, that's so cool, like it looks neat. And you know, I just wish I would have made it sooner. But you know, every night was just motivated, you know, as far as like putting it out there, knowing that people really wanted to see it. But at the same time, I was so exhausted. Like at the end, I just like, I'm going to San Diego, guys.
Ultimately, at the end, it's worth the sacrifice. And like, I remember one night, I just didn't want to work. I was burnt out, and I sat across the street, and I'm admiring like the guys working, admiring what Michael built, and you see him micromanaging.
Yeah,
he's interacting with people. He's dealing with like Channel 5 News and like other media like platforms, and he's like talking to guests. And I'm like, look at this young motherfucker. He's handling it. And I was like, he built this thing. He designed it. He got everyone together, and I was like, he's doing it. And it's like it was hard work. He was like, I'm burnt out. But ultimately, it came down to how passionate he was. And I sat there, and I was like, I got to see it from a different perspective because I was always up there on the landing interacting with guests. And I was like, I sat there in the shadows with Manuel. Manuel was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, check this thing out, man. And I was just like, this is pretty cool. And it's like, and it paid off. Like, yeah, I got to see it from a different perspective. So ultimately, it's just with all the sacrifice, it's worth it, and all the hard work, it's worth it. So
Yeah,
So
100%.
So I want to jump forward to your guys' Christmas display, the Santa's Toy Shop.
Yeah, it's. I mean, honestly, I can't even take credit for it because that's mostly my dad. He's been like, again, just like us, where we were doing the mazes and we were doing the yard displays for so many years. He was doing the Christmas display, and that Christmas display has been built like 15 years ago.
Okay.
And he's had it ever since. Like every year, he would take it out. And he would add more through the year, like he would buy stuff, new stuff for it, like figures and all that kind of stuff. But he put wheels on it, and pretty much it's like boxes that have windows on them, and the windows have figures behind them. And so every year he would just roll it out and sort of secure it down, and then he would build upon that like platforms in the front of it that look like snow. So it's been maybe 2 or 3 years since we had to actually put it out again, but more or less it's mostly him. He loves Christmas, and he loves putting out the display of Christmas, and more or less I sort of took over the whole Halloween aspect that he used to do.
Can we see examples on your Grey Phantom profile on Instagram?
There's a few pictures,
okay.
not as much coverage as I did with the Grey Phantom, but definitely there is some pictures on there. But there could be some also old pictures of the Christmas display.
Okay.
But so what we did this year is that he decided, because we're doing displays, because I did my display, he wanted to bring it out. He got motivated.
He got motivated to do something.
So he ended up bringing it out, and he added stuff to it. He bought a giant full metal sleigh that he put in the front of it.
Oh wow!
From OfferUp, funny enough.
I gotta hit up Oppa.
Dude,
Ernie keeps blowing it up.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid, but anyway, yeah, I'm not getting sponsored.
It's like the Grey Fam got sponsored by the OfferUp. It's like, jeez.
It's going to be in the bottom of the picture of the Grey Phantom. Sponsored by.
I'm gonna have him sponsor the podcast on top of Zombie Donuts too. It's like, geez,
right?
Yeah.
So he put it all together again, and we helped him as much as we could as far as like putting it together. But more or less, he took my role as like the person that would be going outside every night and checking on it, and meeting with people. Funny enough, a lot of the people that enjoy the Grey Phantom stopped by to enjoy the Christmas display.
You went by, right?
I did. Yeah, it was really good.
I never had a chance to go.
Rick actually came by too, Rick West again, and he came
See,
and checked it out. Yeah,
the same Halloween people. Okay.
Yeah. They all enjoyed it a lot, and they really enjoyed the atmosphere, because just like me, he likes to do the small details. So he had one side would be speakers of something in particular, and then the other side would be like the small world display that he had, where he'd be playing like the music. And then I added my own touch, which was a projector that I put in the middle of the toy shop that had like elves like building something projector wise, more or less the same exact spot where the projector was for the dining area of the ship.
Okay.
Again, Atmos FX that I got that video off of. So yeah, it was a great display, and it was a lot of fun and interesting to put it up again to see because I honestly, I'm so used to him putting it up one way, but he actually changed it up, and he actually put out less. So what you see in the pictures is only half of what he had originally.
Oh wow.
So the other half is still in the driveway or still in the backyard, one of the two.
Now, what did you see when you went, Justin?
When I went there, it was just a lot of lights. It was bright, and one thing that caught my eye was it was like a white box, I think. It had like some Disney characters in there.
The small world.
Yeah,
display.
the small world. Yeah. And then the thing that really got my attention was on the bottom shelf. There was these I guess they were like kids from Switzerland or something like that, or somewhere in Europe, and it looked really like authentic, like old school Disney. Just when it opened, having the
faces are made like out of paper mache.
Exactly, you know what I mean. Like I almost thought it was made out of wood at first. Yeah, because they look so vintage. And it was just really well done and put together.
He is a heavy duty collector when it comes to almost everything. Like he's not looking for specific stuff. Yeah. But when he sees something, he automatically is like, oh, that looks really cool, I want to get it. Yeah. So throughout the 20 years or so that he's been doing stuff like this, he's picked up a numerous amount of collectible, like those figures. Those figures were bought probably either at the swap meet or on eBay or something like that. Nice. he actually had, not me, but he had the whole Small World display of like 8 figures that were replicas that moved the same way. And they were all the nationalities, like from China and from like the rest.
Yeah.
And he literally just sold that before he put up the toy shop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had that. He could have had that out there too, and you know they were replicas. But he's a big collector when it comes to stuff like that. If he sees something really neat that he knows that it's really worth something and he wants to enjoy it, he'll add it on to that for the display. And and yeah, so again, you know, thank you for saying that. It really, you know, shows that, you know, people notice stuff like that.
Oh, yeah,
even if, because there's like tons of figures throughout the entire display, but
yeah, there was a lot to look at, but those things stuck out. You know what I mean?
You know, and he even has some, those figures that are sawing in the front are like from the 1950s because they have what's called angel hair, which is fiberglass.
Yeah.
Oh.
We used to have ornaments or like tree toppers or angels, and in those angel hair, it's fiberglass.
Yeah.
And
that was an animated like a figure that was doing the saw, like 2 figures, and they had that hair and the paper mache face and all that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he has a ton of stuff. Like awesome. I mean, going on a tangent for a second, going back to like collecting, he actually found an actual prop from the Beetlejuice movie.
Ooh.
A few years back, maybe like 10 years back, of the shrimp hand that was in the...
That's funny.
Yeah.
When they start singing that one song,
So he literally found
Deo,
one of the hands that was used in that shot.
Uh-huh.
And not knowing, you know, it was just by itself. It wasn't in a glass case. It wasn't, you know, wrapped up or whatever.
So if you ever do like a haunt, like a walk through your house, you gotta incorporate that.
I know, right?
Well, no, actually, that's the thing though. So he had it for about 8 years in storage, and he finally decided to have it certified. So he talked to Profiles in History, which is a place that can do that and actually do the research to find out what's real, what's not real. And he had it certified, and he sold it at an auction, and it went for a good amount of money. So he just as part of like, he's like I said, if he sees something neat and he wants to collect it, then he does. And that's the cool part about it, is that sometimes he finds stuff that you don't even think about, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's right there. You know, I can't believe that he has it, you know? So it's really neat. And, you know, it's been, you know, that's part of my whole, that's sort of how I grew up, really. So that's sort of why I do what I do sometimes, is like, because I grew up around props, and I grew up around that whole, atmosphere of like seeing latex mask in my closet, or seeing, you know, for Halloween, having like tons and tons of, you know, what is those called? Like plastic bins of nothing but costumes and Halloween.
So it was always, you were always around it then?
Yeah, always around it because of him, really. Like he has all that collection, you know, whether or not it's used through the year. Like sometimes he just collects just to have it there, you know. But yeah, he has a ton of stuff like that, and he just keeps like I said, he just keeps collecting. And who knows what he has now, because I don't keep track of everything. So he could literally have other movie props, and you know, they're just sitting there waiting. You know, I've actually seen, I swear that he has a Godzilla head that was used in one of the movies.
I think you told me that.
Yeah. But I haven't seen it for like 10 years, but I remember it because it's so neat, because it's the top of a head of Godzilla from like maybe the 80s, I want to say, or the 90s. It's a latex like head, and it's falling apart because it's old, but the mouth itself is secured in by like little pins that you would use for like little pen needles. Okay. So I don't know why it's made that way, but like the mouth itself, like the tongue and the teeth are made out of resin, and everything is painted. That's weird. Yeah, but it's really neat, because once I seen it, I'm like, this has to be something that was used in a movie, because it's just so. You don't see it, you know, because it's cut off the right way, where you would put it on top of a head for an animatronic, and then the mouth itself is just like a full-on resin piece that's in 2 pieces that you would put in after the head's been cast. And you know, I love Godzilla, so that's just one thing that I was like, oh, I'm so, you know, I was amazed when I seen it. But that sort of goes into my whole collecting thing too. Like I do the same thing where I find stuff.
You collect a lot of the 6 scale figures, like Marvel and Star Wars and so forth. I mean,
and that's just part of it. I have like that's one wall.
Yeah, I mean you're big time into the Predator figures.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite. That's actually not one of mine, but it's definitely a favorite of mine. The Predator. That was like, that goes along with the whole cosplay thing. That was the first costume I ever wore to go like to conventions and stuff. I bought a full suit that was like a full-on replica suit. Cost me like at least $2,000 in total. But,
Jesus.
But that was on pieces. I paid for everything in pieces, so it didn't hurt as much.
Right.
But like the whole thing is a latex suit that had a full-on like replica head on it. Had the hands that were replica. The armor was all rubber, so it was a replica. And I painted it myself too. So that, like I said, I love painting. So if I can find something to paint with, from one way or another, I'll paint. So I airbrushed a lot of the skin tones into that. I didn't really know anything about painting at that point. So I mean, that was 12, 13 years ago. Comparing that to now, I would have loved to have the opportunity to actually paint a suit because I have, the skills more or less. I have better skills. So yeah, I collect stuff like that. So I have the Predator that I collect. I have like at least 20 or 30 of the smaller like NECA. They're called NECA.
Yeah, the 6 scale figures, and they got like 9 scale figures. Yeah.
Yeah. So the 6 scale figures are mostly all Hot Toys or Sideshow.
Yeah.
I started off with like 2 of them or 3 of them, and
I got a couple floating around. Just they're hard. They're hard not to buy. Keep buying them. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Especially if you find the right price for one, it's really, really, really hard. And
I have some old school Sideshow collectibles, officially licensed Universal Studios.
Oh, nice.
Monsters, like I got like the Bride, and I have the Frankenstein's monster, Family Opera, but I gave that one away. I got the it's the Gilman. People say the creature from Black Room. Technically, it's the Gilman, and these are like original pieces from like the 90s. So yeah, I got a couple of those. So
yeah, I mean, it's amazing just the detail you'll find in those figures. And, again, with me, I love detail. I love finding the small stuff and stuff like that. So that's why I love those figures so much, is that, they detail them to the point where it's actually almost like having the actual suit in person, It's the next best thing, because obviously we can't all afford to buy suits that are already painted, that are already, ready to display. So that's why I buy them more or less, because I love seeing them, like, having them there and seeing them and just being inspired by the amount of detail and amount of paintwork that's done into them. And, having my favorite, characters that I grew up with, having them in front of me while I'm working on the project, or having them in front of me while I'm, just chilling out in my room. But on top of that, I have other stuff. So like, I can walk you through my room if you want. So on one wall is full glass cases. I have 3 of them now that have all those 6 scale figures. The next wall has an alien facade that I made.
I remember you told me that. Yeah,
it's like 10 years old, but I made a full-on like alien spaceship door that has an alien head coming out through the crack of the door. That's over my bed. And it's a
big ass room. Jeez.
It's not as big as it sounds, but I make it work.
Okay.
And on top of my bed, I have my village collection that I made that are all like the little ceramic houses of Halloween.
Okay.
So I have that surrounding my entire top of my bedroom. Not bedroom, but atop of my bed, in layers, like shelving. So like I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 different shelves of those ceramic houses.
Jesus.
That are all just like detailed, like with little roads and little like trees and brush and all that kind of stuff. And then the next wall, the third wall, has my 2 shelvings of all those NECA Predators that are all just on the display. There's like at least 40 of them. And the next wall is just my TV and my TV console, and that's it. The boring wall.
Jeez, you got so much.
Too much. I have too much going on that room, but it works, and it's fun to see all the just like everything that made me what I am today. Seeing Star Wars and seeing Predator and Marvel, definitely. It's everything that I love, so I display it.
So as far as builds or any future projects this year, 2020s are too soon to say. Or are you working on concepts at least? Yeah,
there's always concepts. Like honestly, I wanted to make a Christmas, but I didn't. I thought about it and I had all the ideas in mind. Like I was so pumped for it because I was like, yeah, I could do this, I could do that. But I was like, I'm not going to jump on the boat that fast as far as like getting something into something that big, because I wanted to rent like a place. I wanted to put a whole maze out, but I can't do that because, you know, what's going on with COVID.
Trust me, I want to pull the trigger on so many things. It's just hard. It's hard to say with everything going on. So it's like, it's
hard to say. It's hard if you know, it's hard to see if you're going to be financially stable enough to do that kind of stuff. It's hard to say who's going to be available, what they're going to want to do. But I had a whole, honestly, it might maybe this year, maybe next year, I don't know. But I really, for Christmas, I wanted to make a Saw inspired Christmas display. Not display, but maze.
Walkthrough. Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So I drew out all the plans for it. I had like some of those pictures that you see. I actually posted it on my on the Instagram Gray Phantom page. Pictures of some of the rooms that I wanted to make that were part of that.
Don't give out
Saw.
too much. You don't want someone to steal your idea. I mean,
that's depending if I ever make it, who knows, but I mean, I drew out a lot of interesting, you know, just displays and just interesting rooms, but there's nothing on there that hasn't already been done. So there's stuff that I haven't shown, but the stuff that is on there is stuff that's probably already been done, you know, so it's not going to be that bad.
Okay.
But yeah, that was definitely something I wanted to do for Christmas, but I just figured it's just an idea. It's not actually something that I want to put into production yet.
Okay.
But as far as anything else goes this year, I don't have anything in mind in general other than going with the flow, because that's something I learned last year, is that I'm just going to go with the flow, and if something comes up that I can do, or something comes up that someone wants me to help with, then if I can do it, I'll do it. But the way things are and the way things are regulated now, it's just not feasible to plan stuff 100%, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to commit to things.
Yeah, it really is, you know, especially if you want to make something big like that, you know? The Gray Phantom, at least I knew that I wasn't going to be, you know, held back when it comes to that. But making a maze, you will be held back.
Yeah,
be put in...
It's more work.
Yeah, you'll be put in situations where you have to decide what you really want to do and what you can't do. And I honestly, though, it's going to be a great year, because every year ever since I started with Sinister, Pointe has been a great year, regardless
Something
of
new
what's
every year.
yeah, regardless of what's went down. You know, I've made the best out of what I could, and I've went with the flow as much as possible. So it's been, you know, ever since I went out of my way to go apply for Sinister, you know, something I never thought I'd do in a long time. You know, it's been a great experience with everything. I've learned so much, and I've met so many people that I never thought I'd meet before. And, you know, people somewhat know me for certain things, you know, and I always want to grow, you know, I always want to stay, you know, I always want to keep an eye out for whatever's happening and work with what I can. And, you know, I don't want to stop. I really don't. And, you know, it's like an avalanche. You just want to keep going with snowball, and, you know, you want to make it, it's going to turn into something bigger.
Something bigger and bigger.
Yeah. So I'm hoping. I mean, I'll do my best to do everything.
We'll see what happens in 2021. So I normally end every episode with a fantasy question. It's going to be for both you guys. So I'm going to ask you first, Ernie. So what it is, time portal opens up here in the apartment. You have the opportunity to work, either manage or help build any maze, any theme attraction, which one, what era, and why. So let's say you have an opportunity to go to like the golden era of like Not Scary Farm.
Yeah.
Or like back in the shipwreck days of Dark Harbor, or like the golden era of like for Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights, which was like early to mid 90s. So what would you do? Would you manage, or would you help build? And which maze and where?
Well, it depends, because you said theme park. So do you mean the rides, or do you mean the only Halloween related?
I'm talking like manage a maze or help build a facade.
So only Halloween related.
It could be theme park. If you want to be like on the build team for Pirates, when they first did, you know, concepts, it could be that. It could be whatever.
Yeah.
It could be like you're on the build team for Star Tours, whatever you want.
That's a good question. I wasn't prepared for this.
Well, that's why I do it on purpose. Kind of get you off guard.
You know, that's the thing about me, is like my dream job would be to build sets for stuff like that.
Okay.
Like
set design.
Set design, like for movies, for television, for theme parks. It's hard to say honestly what I would want to work on if I ever had a chance to work on something in the past, because there's so many things that I drew inspirations from, like from Universal. Like the Jurassic Park ride is something that I would have loved to do.
Okay.
If it ever went on again, they just remodeled.
Yeah.
Like not even a few years back. And, it's funny now because I actually know I know what the name of the team that worked on that. The Local 33 worked on that too. And
wow. Okay.
Yeah. And they, it's, something I would have never known before. And, now I do. So it's interesting, but, that's a good question. Honestly, it would have to be like a theme parks, a ride. I wouldn't have to say a maze, honestly, because I think I'm mostly inspired by just theme park stuff. Like my favorite, not everybody's gonna agree, but my favorite like place theme park related would be Universal.
Okay.
Because Universal falls into my whole idea of wanting to do mazes, not mazes, movie stuff. Set, yeah.
For a movie, yeah.
So when I grew up, mostly I used to usually go to Universal.
Same
Disney
here.
was more or less
Disney
once in a blue moon.
Once a blue moon. It was always for us knots in Universal. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, same here. I don't know why, but like some people were like automatically drawn into Disney, and they've been going forever. Not us.
Yeah, we grew up going to Universal.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it just came out that way, and Universal was for a while like my second home, because I had bought the year pass like 4 years in a row, and we would go like every week. And that's it would have been cool. It would have been cool to make the permanent as a small just say it in that part. There was a House of Horrors.
It was a walkthrough.
Yeah, that would be something I would have loved to work on because it was permanent. But one thing I really, 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 really was inspired by is the Walking Dead permanent maze that used to be there.
That was so cool. The design of it, the concept.
Because I love the Walking Dead. I love all the the seasons of seeing it and actually seeing it come to life, and seeing the different sets that were actually like almost the same as what was on TV.
Okay.
So that really inspired me a lot when I seen it, and I was like, again, like I said, I love to see movie sets and what they're used, how they're function, all that kind of stuff. So when I seen that, it was so cool, and that's part of why I built like one of my display pieces that I did like a few years back before all of this was a Walking Dead maze, and I made an entire set that looked like the jail room that had not jail room, but the jail that had like a fencing that went all the way across, that made like a walkway and all this stuff to it. But that would be something I would have loved to work on and be there. So
you want to be do set design Universal Studios, like one of the permanent attractions. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly that would be my dream job if I could ever get it to that far. But I don't know about mazes, because I feel like I'm throwing mazes under the under the bus.
That's all right. Yeah, you're being honest. So
what was really cool too is the maze of the honestly, I'm being biased now, but Alien vs Predator, which was like maybe 6 years ago.
Okay.
That was a cool maze because it had concept. All the suits, and I had a full-size alien.
They went full-on prosthetic suits,
and the alien queen was even there, and that was like a huge, like 12-foot tall, alien that was there that's painted.
I remember,
perfect.
Real quick, and I'm going to jump over to Justin's question. They did 1997 Universal Studios, the Halloween Horror Nights. They had Rob Zombie, Clyde Barker, and I think The Undertaker the same year from the WWF. They had all the characters from Hellraiser, and they went full on. Clyde Barker's like, we're not going to do this cheap. Like, they looked legit, like from the movie. It was creepy as hell because the building, it was one of the buildings in the back lot, and they made it look like the LA County morgue. And you had to enter. I was dry heaving. That's how anxious I was, and it was all that. Like, I think they're gross. The characters from Hellraiser.
Yeah,
it was all the characters in there, and just like all
the movie itself was interesting. It's a ton of gore and all that.
But they went full on detail. So, okay, good question.
Yeah, I wish I could answer it better, but
you're good. You're good. Okay, so now Justin ScaredieCat Vasquez. Same question. He had an opportunity. And Time Portal opens up here. You can go to any maze, Knott's, Universal, Shipwreck, Dark Harbor, any maze, any era, and you got a camera crew with you. You don't have to worry about handling the camera. You're mic'd, and they're gonna record your scary reactions. What maze would it be and what era?
That's gonna be a hard one, man. Because a part of me would want to go back to like my very first year, like 2008, going through Slaughterhouse, because that one was like always like my favorite maze. I still watch like the walkthrough videos from time to time on YouTube. But then again, it would probably be that year, so 2008 or 2000, I believe 9 or 10 when they had quarantine. No, that was 2008. Excuse me. So yeah, 2008. Yeah, so when they had quarantine, that would be 2009. I'm horrible with dates. But anyways, 2009, it would be either Slaughterhouse or Quarantine. Those two mazes like really stuck out that year because those ones like really had me like legit running. My cousins had to like catch up with me and stuff like that. So yeah.
I agree. A Quarantine was a dope ass maze. Okay, so you wouldn't have to worry about running your own camera. It's like you got a crew doing it. All right, well, I think that's it. Anything you want to plug, Ernie?
Yeah. I mean, I have a YouTube. I also have Instagram, like 2 different profiles. So if you want to follow me on YouTube, it's the Monster Zone is what the channel is called. I put a lot of my Hot Toys 6 scale figures on there lately. Like this different like videos of them. You know, sometimes once in a while I'll do a review of one, but I also have the Grey Phantom Halloween is what the Instagram is called. There's a ton of video, a ton of different photos on there, including the Christmas display that we had this year. I mean, the year this past.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and that's. I have a personal profile, but I'd prefer if anybody's following just to follow the Grey Phantom profile. It's more professional.
Yeah, I get it.
So yeah. I have been posting different stuff on there as far as like props that I've been making or just different stuff that I've been painting. So I mean, it's going to become, I think, more of a universal profile for my different art and also the Grey Phantom. But the Grey Phantom's not always around every year. So, I mean, all year. So I'm trying to use it more for everything, for a little bit of everything. Yeah, so that's about it. So again, Grey Phantom Halloween or YouTube, which is the Monster Zone. Those are the only 2 stuff I have going at the moment. I will keep you updated if anything else comes up.
Cool. Justin, ScaredieCat Vasquez, got anything to plug?
Just the YouTube channel, ScaredieCat Vasquez, and my Twitch that I've been highly active on, which is ScaredieCat _Vasquez.
Now, what games have you been playing on Twitch? Tell us.
A lot of Dead by Daylight.
There you go.
And Phasmophobia, I believe it's called. It's like a ghost hunting game. Those are the main 2, but I'm looking to get up on like, Left 4 Dead and like some other indie horror games.
Perfect. And I'll definitely put links in the description of the podcast where everyone can find you guys. I think that's a wrap. Episode 13, Lucky 13. I'm surprised I got the double digits. So I was going to amaze myself. So thank you, Ernie, for coming on, sharing stories about the Grey Phantom.
Yeah.
Being a good friend.
Great.
Justin, thank you for always being a good friend and a supporter and coming on the podcast.
Thank you, man. I'm surprised you still let me in your house.
So I was gonna come up with, I was gonna make fun of you again. I can't think of nothing. I was like, so that's pretty much it, guys. Episode 13 of the Creepcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Justin and Ernie. You guys can definitely find them. The links in the description. Thank you once again, Zombie Donuts in downtown Fullerton, California, for sponsoring the podcast. I'd like to thank everyone at home for listening. That's it. Episode 13. That's a wrap. Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
You've once again barely escaped the clutches of the Creepcast with Rick Creeper. Next time, you may not be so lucky. To find out more about the Creepcast and Rick Creeper, follow Rick on Instagram at RickCreeper11. Until next time, be sure to keep that lantern light burning. You never know what could be lurking out